So we have made the trip all the way to the Northwestern Province. We are in Solwezi today. My name is K Plus, of course, with the man, who I'm sure is not a stranger to the podcast right now, Bryson Caps Sompa, the CEO, the proprietor, the visionary that put together this shop all over the country. Bryson, just tell us more about Caps, where it is, and where people can find you in Solwezi and across Zambia.
Thank you, K Plus, and thank you for you being here. We appreciate. So Caps was registered in 2016. We started in Lusaka. We opened our first shop there, expanded into another shop in Lusaka. Then we grew and expanded to Kitwe, Solwezi, and Livingstone. So in Solwezi, we've been in existence for 4 years now. So we are behind up. That's where we are. So as you know, we are kings of German cars. We are specialized in Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen, Jeep, Land Rover, Mini Cooper, and a few other European cars. But for Solwezi, we've got something special for you. We've actually extended our services and we've expanded into some more models, Japanese models. So we've got quite a number of spares, like for Ford Ranger, the T6, Land Cruiser, 79 series, Toyota Hilux, Vigo, Revo, the new and old. We've got parts for the small cars like Toyota Passo, Arion, Axio, Vitz, Honda. We've got starting from RD1 up to RD5, Honda Fit. All that we've got you covered. We've got a number of lubricants, as you can see in the video, GTX Petrol, GTX Diesel, CVT, original Toyota oil, and Motu. We've got special coolants. We've got suspension parts, bushes, shocks, service parts, and everything that you might need. So we are quite stocked. So feel free to come through, get quotation. You can reach us on 0966 723 009. That's our number. Just behind up, we got you covered. Cap Spares Solutions, spares that drive you.
Tan 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 tan.
Going's good.
You know, one thing that I said this in the Q episode, Drake underestimated Kendrick.
I don't think he underestimated him. I feel like Drake is a trial. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's one thing that I always say to people, yeah? You can lie to the world, but don't let the world lie to you or sort of lie to yourself. Do you know what I mean? So Drake has been hyped so much that he started believing his own hype.
That's true.
Yeah.
But why I say he underestimated Kendrick is when he did push-ups. This guy switched the beat 3 times, right? The shit that he said in push-ups, hold on. The shit that he said,
yeah.
You say what?
No, I mean, it's ridiculous. Kendrick is not your friend.
The shit that Drake said, 90% of the artists he would have annihilated.
100%.
And if you notice, from when Drake released his diss track to Kendrick, it took Kendrick almost 2 weeks.
100%.
And people thought Kendrick was not going to.
Yeah. No, good. You can just
start recording. Like 2 or 3. Is it 3 tracks back to back?
People thought Kendrick was not going to come back, right? And
but also,
like,
you know what it is, eh? Even if he didn't come back, he had already won.
Who, Kendrick?
Yeah.
With what? With a like that?
Well, yeah, like even if Kendrick didn't respond to Drake, he would have already won.
No, but you know what it is? No, I know.
Is that food,
he would have lost. No, he would have lost.
Is that food for us?
No, that's me.
That's you, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's food for us, isn't it? Yeah, just say, just bring it. Yeah.
I like how you just impose.
It's basically food for us, isn't it?
Had Kendrick only left his verse on like that, and Drake responded, if Kendrick had not responded again, he'd have lost.
True. I agree. But Drake had no chance.
He had no chance.
Do you know, I was hoping he'd get a verse from like Weezy side. Do you know what I mean? If like Lil Wayne came in, there could have been a little bit of a something, but like just straight by himself.
I don't know if they wanted to get involved with shit that
You could have just written some bars for him, you know?
Yeah, man.
At least you know Weezy can rap.
You know what it is? I feel, and I said this, I said Kendrick got Drake to a point where Drake was now defending himself from the shit that Kendrick said. And I actually say this to a couple of my friends. If Drake comes that angle where he's defending himself and explaining himself, he's lost.
Yeah, he's done.
And everything Kendrick must have said must have been true.
Yeah.
And everything Kendrick said must have been true.
Yeah. Kendrick even said, I can predict your angle.
Your next move, yeah.
I can predict your next move.
Yeah.
Drake dropped Family Matters.
Yeah.
Within 30 minutes of that, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams. It took 30 minutes. Well, bruh.
do you know how prepared you have to be to drop a song?
While people
He had anticipated every move like a
Facts.
He's a chess player.
Facts.
While people were still saying, oh wait, do you know Drake has got a new diss track?
Kendrick drops another
Like
one.
that. Kendrick dropped another one.
And you can't even say he recorded it then.
No, he knew
didn't.
what
he
everything
knew what
Drake,
you were gonna do next.
He knew everything that was in Drake's arsenal
And
before
he
it came
said
out.
it. He said, I can predict
Your next
what the
move.
fuck you're gonna say. And he warned him. He said, look, if you're gonna open the door and go after my family, now that's where I can say anything about you.
Yeah.
And he warned him, don't talk about my family. And he did.
Do you know? I feel like Kendrick just had a bunch of different tracks. If he says this, I'm gonna drop this one. If he says this, I'm gonna drop this one.
You know what I mean?
Apparently he had 10 tracks.
Oh, serious?
Yes, he had 10 tracks. So in
if
that
Drake-
2 weeks, he recorded 10 tracks.
If Drake responds with this, we've already got this
We've got a
one.
track.
If he talks about my
Bam.
family, I've got a family song. If he
That
talks about
is
my
why-
woman, I've got a woman song.
That is why when Drake released Family Matters, he released
The
Me the
Grahams
Grams.
was already ready, yeah.
Where he wrote letters to Drake's son,
Mother,
Drake's mom, and
father.
Drake's daughter. He told Drake's mom, your son should kill himself.
After this.
Imagine.
Man, Kazadi,
Man.
welcome back to the podcast. This man
We're
is no
rolling, yeah.
stranger to the podcast. In
rolling.
fact, a lot of our journey from episode 4, 5, or 6 is because of this man right here. At that point, I think because we're not having any sponsors coming to the podcast, we met, I think it was at either Hot FM or somewhere, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I was telling you about how I don't think this podcast should go on any longer because we're not getting any sponsors, we're spending so much money.
Yeah.
And you kept emphasizing the fact that, dude, you've got something really big going here. Keep going. This thing is going to blow up, it's going to grow. Look at where we are today. This man is like a prophet and a friend of the podcast.
Prophet Kazadi
Yeah.
has a nice ring to it, innit?
Look at you in white already.
Money
man.
making ministries. Bring your tithe.
Yeah. Gob is not with us today. Make it sound like it's dead, eh?
That sounds so wrong.
Makes it sound like it's dead, eh?
But the today part's kind of redeemed. Yeah. Gob is busy.
I made it sound like he's dead.
I'm
No,
dead.
so it's not like he's dead. He's still with us, like
Gob is busy.
in this realm. He's busy. We're
Because
recording
Gob
this on a Sunday.
also doubles as a police officer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's
He's
a
a
police
cop.
officer. Usually when he's on set, he's got his walkie-talkie and everything, responding to other police officers.
No way.
So he's a
Way.
police officer, he's a photographer, he's a videographer, he shoots our podcast, and
He's a husband.
he's a husband.
He's married as well.
Yeah, recently, like,
Unfortunately.
yeah, like 4 or 5
How do
months
you
in
find the
marriage now.
time, man? How does he do it? I can barely cope. You know what I mean? What? My man's got 8 jobs.
You know what I mean? That's good for you. So Kazadi, welcome to the podcast again.
Thank you
man.
for having me, guys. It's
You
been a long
you've got
time.
a podcast coming on as well with Abel
I have
Chungu.
got a podcast coming up with Abel Chungu. Yeah.
What's it called?
What's it called? Oh, no, you didn't.
Why? Why that title?
You find out, man.
You say
I talk,
what?
I talk a lot of stuff online and stuff, and people just think I'm mad. So when Abel approached me, because he's been planning this for like what 17, 18 years or so, he says, and he's like, let's do a podcast, and I give you a platform, and you could basically air out your views. I was like, cool. Do you know what I mean? People already don't like me online when I type. Now you're gonna put a camera in front of my face and a mic. Let's see how this goes. So we shot a couple episodes. Yeah, I mean it's decent. Like podcasting is hard. Yeah, I'll say that.
Are you
for
saying
free.
it's hot or it's hard?
It's hard. It's
We
hard.
need subtitles for this nigga.
It's hard. What you guys, because you do this every week.
Every week.
Do you know what I mean? So I was telling Abel because we had a production meeting, and I was just like, bruv, we need to find a way to make this work, because the problem I'm gonna find is when it gets really busy for me, it gets really busy. And like once this comes out, you have to keep a certain level of consistency. Remember, I used to tell you guys this. So the problem that I found is you can't, the time, the content, and just keeping it interesting. But yeah, it's nice, it's decent.
I mean, there's so many people that you're arguing with on the socials. Are you going to bring this up on your podcast as well? I mean, there's...
Some of it, yeah. Some of it will be brought up. Some of it will be brought up, but obviously some... So At the start of the year, I was officially made like the CEO of the group of companies. Okay,
Hot media.
So the hot media group. So that's Hot FM, Kazadi Films, all of that stuff. So there's a few things I can't really say anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because of the position, and some people can't really differentiate between David Kazadi speaking and like David Kazadi, the CEO, president of the company, speaking. So I had a whole meeting with the board, and obviously my uncle's on the board, so it was like, no, you can't say this and you can't say that. I was like, okay, cool, I understand. So some stuff will be brought up, but like the past few months, I've literally been working on trying to tone down and sort of find my identity and a voice in this new role.
You know, I've always said, and this is a big part of why I work for myself now.
Yeah.
I've always said you cannot hold a social media where you say your true opinions and the job at the same time.
Yeah, agreed.
You have to let one go.
You have to let one go, of course.
Right.
Of course. And that's the problem. Like, you see what it is, yeah? When I look at Elon Musk and like, you know, any of these, you know, social media heavy or what's his name? Bartlett, Stephen
Trump.
Bartlett. No, Donald Trump's a bit too far.
Wasn't it Bartlett, the podcast? Gary, the CEO.
Yeah. So like, people get it because they come from countries that understand that, you know, this is him and this is his job. Do you know what I mean? But then we're not necessarily in those countries. And I get it. Do you know what I mean? Until we get to a point where people can differentiate between his opinion is his opinion and it has nothing to do with the job, then you can.
What countries are those where people can differentiate between the two?
England for one, America for another.
No, America is the worst example.
No, because they do. They understand when Donald Trump has said something that.
No, but actually they don't, because now in America they take what you say.
But it affects you, not your job.
No, but that's my point. Is look at Trevor Noah, for example. What he said on stage as a joke came to affect him as the host of the Daily Show.
Yeah, because that's work to work.
But that's my point. Is they cannot differentiate between the two. That he was on stage, he said a joke, and now they are saying, why do you have this guy on the Daily Show when he was saying A, B, C, and D about women? Do you get what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying.
Same thing with Kevin Hart. He said what he said as a joke, as he said about the LGBTQ, and they went after his job as the host of, I think it was the Oscars, I think. We had to apologize. So I feel like America especially has got a bunch of sensitive ass bitches where they don't differentiate between the two. Where
No, but they're better.
But the example he gave was of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
You know
but then
what I mean?
again, Elon, but a good example.
He's
because once again, what Elon says on Twitter affects his job
Not
a lot of the time.
not necessarily.
necessarily.
Well,
I'll tell you.
sometimes,
No,
yes.
I'll tell you. Have you noticed how Apple, he lost almost 80% of his sponsors because of what he said on Twitter?
What did he say?
He spoke about, I'll Google it now, but if you noticed, I think it has something to do with the LGBTQ. Apple pulled out, Nestle pulled out.
That's an extreme example, isn't it?
And when he was then asked about it in an interview, he said, fuck them and their money.
I remember the exact words he used, actually.
You remember that, right?
No, but listen,
Advertisers, I think it was about advertisers' money. I've got money.
Yes.
That's what he said.
So do you know the context why they were asking him about advertisers? Is because they pulled out from advertising because of what he said.
No, but hear this. There's a difference between them talking about LGBTQ and XYZ, all of that stuff on that side of the world. That's a very sensitive topic. Do you know what I mean? They understand, you know, the usual banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't talk about LGBT. There's just, you know, it's just certain things you're not going to talk about because it's too politically motivated. But like, these guys can tell when it's a joke. Like, they have a sense of humor. But sometimes on my post, like, I remember one time, one of the reasons I even have quote unquote beef with this artist, what's his name?
Triple
M.
Yeah.
Was because they got the joke out of context. Do you know what I mean? And that's not really something that.
What was the joke?
So I posted and said, I don't remember. I don't remember what I said exactly, but I had posted something saying, I was basically celebrating a lot of the upcoming artists. So I took all their pictures and put them up, including my artists and so on and so forth. Then, of course, his fans came and they were like, oh, how are you comparing him to Mordecai when he's not an upcomer? So like, it just became this messy thing. So I was like, but he is an upcomer. We literally won upcoming artist next to him. So there was a whole thing. Then that blew up and, you know, Triple M got touched. So like, I expected the fans to make it something. What I didn't expect was Triple M to make it a thing as well. So then, of course, you know, I get a call from the board of directors and they're like, why are you trending and fighting with kids? And I'm like, I don't even know that I'm trending and fighting with kids. Then the next day is something else and something else. So I'm just like, do you know what? Let's put this social media thing to rest. So I hired a social media manager, but every now and again, you got to make sure that they talk according to my tone. Because people can tell when it's not you. When
Yeah,
it's
we
not
know
you, right?
we know when there's Bemba on your pose. We know it's not you.
Oh yeah, that's the giveaway.
Well, that's one day giveaway.
Mad. Okay, so no more Bembas. No more Bemba. But yeah, it
Well,
is
that's
what it
it.
is. It is what it is.
Also, how do I know it's not Kazadi? Because the. So wait, this guy who's in charge of your socials now? Is it
Some person.
faceless right now, nameless?
Yeah, nameless.
Okay,
faceless.
cool. How much is he going to be posting for you, and how does he know? Does he send the stuff to you to approve first before you post?
The idea of having, I mean, he knows this. He's an IT specialist. The idea of having a social media manager is that they learn your language and your personality, and of course, when they want to post something that's a bit PC, they got to check in with you. Can I say this? Can I write this? But normally, if it's not like crazy stuff, they just go ahead with it.
So basically, your Facebook is about to become boring now because
I don't think it's
people
boring.
have gotten accustomed to.
The violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what the board has a problem with.
And what's your hashtag again? The school one?
That's all me though. Like, school remains undefeated.
School remains undefeated.
I did that way before, but like, see, now the social media manager has to keep it consistent. So whenever they say something, they put the hashtag, whatever it is. But it's just, I have a very simple decision. Do I want to be on Facebook all day, or do I want to be in meetings making money? Do you know what I mean? It's a very simple thing.
School remains.
But don't you think that the two are sort of linked?
Somewhat, but my board won't get it until, do you know what I mean? So it's not a fight I'm willing to have.
But then if your board doesn't get it, then they're wrong.
Because in the grand scheme of things, you have to understand, in the grand scheme of things, people don't come to advertise, whether with Kazadi Films, Hot FM, or Kazadi Music, because of what I say or talk about on social media. They just come and work with the businesses because the businesses give them great value. So if I detach myself from the craziness of social media, we don't really lose business. Do you know what I mean? So it's not really a train smash. All I lose out is the quote unquote David Kazadi brand, but that's not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things.
Because you sort of touched on something that I wanted to say. I remember between Peas and Chromes, one of the two got suspended for not writing but retweeting something that was controversial.
How do you know that?
And
Your mates, yeah?
no, they actually don't like me.
Who told you they don't like you? They like everyone.
No, they don't like me. There was a meeting that you guys had where you guys were discussing having us on the Friday show. And one of them said, if this nigga's coming, I'm not showing up on that day.
That's not true.
Yes, it is, because I've got the voice note.
There's no way.
I've got the voice note in my phone.
You play me the voice note. I'll tell you why.
But anyway, that's not the point. The point, though, was it was going to be crazy with such a drastic reprimand. And on the other hand, you've got fucking David posting whatever he wants. You know what I mean? But you've sort of then...
that's what I'm saying. I get it.
Yeah.
Like this, in life, you got to know what fights to have. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just... me not posting, quote unquote, my mind. Do you know what I mean? It's an ego thing. I don't really lose much. But me sort of affecting the businesses because of what I do say messes with the business and we lose money. So you got to grow up and make the grown-up decisions sometimes, and sometimes it's uncomfortable or it's not stuff you agree with, but you got to do what you got to do.
What did you study in school?
So I dropped out of law school.
Of what school?
Law school.
Right.
Yeah, I was in law school for
subtitles, yo?
Yeah, with no subtitles.
Guys, you're exaggerating.
Hey, you heard what he said?
Yeah, I did. I said you need subtitles.
No, I do.
Because I'm speaking. Yeah.
Speak
And
slow,
you're the
enunciate.
dropout.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, you dropped out of law school.
I dropped out. Yeah,
Can you
dropped out.
enunciate your words?
I dropped out
Say
of law
slow.
school.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that? Is that better?
That I heard.
Okay, cool.
It's not better. It's better.
What?
Better.
Where's better? What's better?
You said better.
Yeah, what's
I mean, with the
better?
British people, where do the T's go to?
You swallow your T's, innit?
Water.
You swallow your T's.
Anyway, you were saying you dropped out of law school.
It's funny you swallow your T's except for when you're saying the word T.
You know what I mean.
Crazy. Yeah, so I dropped out of law school, so that was like the first course that I did. I did it because my mum's a lawyer, so I always thought I was going to be, follow after mum's footsteps. Just didn't work out. I found it to be so boring. Do you know what I mean?
Too much to read, eh?
It's not even too much to read. I don't mind reading. It was just boring. Do you know what I mean? I loved like criminal law and when you're like arguing and debating, because I could do that from here to Timbuktu. But I just hated the everything else. Do you know what I mean? I just like, this ain't for me. And then obviously my dad comes and is like, oh no, you're gonna be a failure, we didn't bring you from Zambia to come here and become, do you know what I mean? Because he's a doctor. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me try business school. So I went to business school, dropped out after 2 years again. Then there was a whole family meeting. They even called Oscar to come through, and he's like, no, but the problem is you guys are too hard on these boys.
Who was saying this?
My uncle.
Oscar.
Yeah, like, he's always been my guy. So I went to med school, dropped out after like 6 months.
What the hell? Wait, so law school, how far into it did you get?
2 years.
2 years of everything, bro.
Same thing as the business?
2 years.
The same thing as the med, 2 years.
Med is
So
six
6
months.
years now.
6 months at least.
No,
At least.
4 years and 6 months. So now here's a funny thing. Like my family's very musical, innit? So like, cause I sing and play instruments, and people don't know this. So like I don't know how to explain it. I think the school system is the same here as it is in the UK. Like when you get to like A levels, you get to choose what you study, right? Okay, cool. So the courses that I was studying allowed me to obviously take music. So I was studying music because I could already do like the musical stuff naturally. And in my family, anything that is a talent is not considered a thing. Like they just feel, okay, cool, you can sing, you can play football, but go and study law. Do you know what I mean? So it was always one of those things.
Right.
So back then, this is like the days of Skepta, JME, when like UK grime was coming up, 2010, 2009, thereabouts. Yeah. No, that came way after. Yeah.
Oh, right,
this is
right.
way before, like proper UK
like
underground.
2014, 15,
yeah, proper UK underground. So we have
Dude, what do you want to eat?
food. I'm not picky.
Sorry, Drew, do you mind just calling the waiter?
I'm not picky. So I had done a music video, and we had a channel called Channel U back then. And for me, it was like, if we shoot a music video, we'll put it on Channel U, bruv, I blow up, forget school, So I went, and that's when I got my first music video shot. So because I was obviously a typical black boy, went into the media class, and back then, like the kids studying media and film were what you would call grebo. Did you ever have that? Like the goths? Like long hair, blue, whatnot.
Hold on.
We
You
call
said,
them,
did we ever have that?
like, did you call them grebos?
No.
Well, no, we never had them, so why would we call them that?
Oh, you never had
No.
goths?
That's like a very British thing, man.
Wait, there was no goth season?
No.
But I've met a couple girls.
When did you leave Zambia?
When it was 10.
I was
Seven,
like
10?
7
And when did you come back here?
when I was 27.
How old are you now?
I'm 31.
Okay, so what's like 4 years now?
Yeah.
Have you seen any goth?
No, but like it's an old thing.
No, but it's still a thing now.
No, what I mean is like there was a period where like goths were like a thing. It was fashionable to be.
I don't think it was really a thing in Zambia.
No,
Do you know why I asked? Yeah? Do you know why I asked?
It wasn't a thing in third world countries.
Exactly. It's like
But
a very American
I've
British
seen
thing, yeah.
some Zambian celebrities, like old pictures of them in that.
Well, maybe those were like in tune with what's happening in the UK, America. Maybe we'll try to bring that thing like on stage.
So
but
it
not
was
really
never like
it wasn't really like in fashion, like everybody was doing it. No.
Interesting.
No. Anyway,
All right, as you were.
He's here with the food.
Yeah, so I'm gonna eat my food while you guys watch.
What
so
did
you
you-
can
what
order.
did you get?
I ordered ribs.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get what he ordered, big man. With rice? No, with chips. Yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, his wife feeds him. Your wife fed you before you came in.
good.
What are you drinking? Is that mango?
No, it's orange juice.
Do you have mango?
Oh, you love mangoes?
Mango juice, please. Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I love anything that what are you asking? What are you really asking?
Could I have my food,
That's what you said. What are you really asking?
Speaking of the food at this place, we're at Tri Lounge, first floor in the Gold Star. Top Star Goldman building. It's the first floor. You need a place to have a good meal from, chill with friends. There's drinks. There's a nightclub here, proper DJ.
I want to know how you're going to eat rice and ribs and talk at the same time.
This is also worried not about that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's a master when it comes to food.
Jeez,
worried
boy.
not about that. Bro, you were telling us about, yes?
few things that are
Get into music. Get into music.
Yeah, so obviously I went and spoke to the goths. We call them grebos. And, they were the film kids. Like, they were media. And I'm coming through with my hoodie and whatnot, so they're scared, like they don't want to talk to me and stuff like that. So I'm like, what are you running away from, man? Come here, let's just have a chat. But they weren't having it. So I went and spoke to the media lecturer. I remember her till this day, her name is Emma. I can't remember what her last name is, but I know her name is Emma. She took me on and she said, let me shoot your first music video. I'll get your friends to do it, but I'm not going to edit it for you. You're going to figure it out. Now, in the back of my head, I'm like, bruv, this should be easy, man. Like, what editing? Do you know what I mean? Just chop. You know what I mean? Young me, very ambitious. So she shoots it for us on green screen. And then when it comes to editing it, she sits me down on the computer and basically, you know, like the old Macintosh with the back
with
off.
the blue bag.
With the back off. So she's like, this button does this button does that, this button. So I was like, okay, cool, no problem. So I used to go to my lectures and then come, and that's how I dropped out of school. And now sit in the media room for a consistent, I think it was like 6 or 7 months, just learning how to edit. And that's when I fell in love with filmmaking. So when I went back home and told mum that I was dropping out of business school, they were like, you must be crazy. Do you know what I mean? Now they're calling the uncle and saying, you see, you're encouraging him, he's going to be a failure. Like it was a whole thing. But then it was for the first time in my life, like I felt aligned. Everything just made sense.
And alive.
And alive, yeah. Like it just made sense because I weren't being forced to study. I weren't being forced to go into the media room. So I was just doing it on my own accord. So obviously I had to finish the course because I couldn't just drop out. So I finished it. Then the next year enrolled into media. And then from there on, everything was history. That's when I did that video, the famous TikTok video. I'm like, my name's David Kazadi, owner and founder of Kazadi Films. And in a few years from now, I'm going to become a millionaire. So it all started making sense thereafter.
So what did you graduate in?
I graduated in film production and business.
And business?
Yeah, you had to merge something.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you tried becoming like your mom?
Tried becoming like my dad.
Then your dad?
Yeah.
You tried both your parents' professions.
Didn't work.
Flopped terribly. Tried business, which is way off what the family does.
Yeah.
I'm still coming back to you talking about school being undefeated. And to what extent?
So a lot of people get the wrong context, yeah?
Give us your context, yeah.
School is obviously... So I'm a firm believer in that you're given a certain amount of... In your years, or like your years of living, you have specific years dedicated to specific things, okay? If you miss those years, then cool, you can always catch up, but then it don't mean that you're doing it the right way, or in the right sequence. So my notion, and the notion of a few friends of mine, is from the moment you're born till about 21, 25, those are your learning years, okay? Spend them to learn everything you can. Travel the world, go to school, get to uni, whatever you can, just like learn. Do you know what I mean? Then and I say 21 to 25 because I noticed in Africa, 25 is when people sort of start graduating or thereabouts, okay? Yeah. From 21 or 25 to 45, those are your working years. So work to make all the money you can make, From 45 to, I think, latest on this side of the world to maybe 57, those are your investing years. So find someone that you're going to invest in, find a business you're going to invest in, because when you retire, you want to be able to start making money from your investments. Now, sometimes, life is not a Nigerian movie, so you don't really get to do the sequence that I've said. Mm-hmm. But the truth of the matter is, if you've missed your early 25th years, then you're going to be spending your next segment, from your 25 to 41, your working years, trying to learn and work at the same time. And that's how you find that everyone has an Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob's, a lot of the time when we talk about an Uncle Bob, he never woke up and said, I want to be a bum. He just ended up being a bum because he didn't pay attention to the structure of time. The only real currency that we have no control over is time. That's why school remains undefeated.
So what do you think about us college dropouts? Who never went back to school like you did?
I dropped out of school a couple of times.
Yeah, but who never went back to school like you did?
No, but so here's the thing. I say this to Elson and a lot of times. I feel you're one of the most intelligent men I know. Do you know what I mean? School is an institution that makes it easier for you to learn.
Oh, that's very true, man.
Yeah.
And it also sort of shortens the journey. Because I really feel like if I went back to school, maybe I would have achieved some of the things I've achieved today earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes it smaller and it shrinks it. But you can still catch up, because when I went to uni, I was reading the same books you're reading. When he went to uni, he was reading the same books you're reading. The difference is, all I had to do and focus on was uni. But you probably had to focus on uni, your wife, your kids, your whatnot.
Yeah,
you did it the wrong way around, but you still did it. So school school remaining undefeated for me is just...
Also, I think that one of the biggest mistakes maybe I may have made when it comes to me antagonizing with the school system is reading a little too much before I went to university. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had read too many books by people like Richard Branson, who's got like a whole catalog of books. You know what I mean? And this guy drops out of school, not even uni, grade 8, he drops out, and he still becomes one of the richest people on the planet. You know what I mean? Sorry, I know what I'm gonna say. I know what you're gonna say, and I know about the exceptions you're about to start making here. Elson always argues saying to every rule is an exception, and I know very valid point. I agree with that.
What's the exception here?
He says we only know about the college dropouts who succeeded because they're
they're
famous
so
now.
few.
Yeah. Then they're few and far between.
Right, and that's why you know about Richard. That's why you know about all these
Exactly.
people.
But
But a bunch of the people that dropped out of college right now are sucking dick for rent.
But are you going to argue with my life story? I'm sharing my life story here. And I'm talking about why I dropped out. So I read all these stories, quite all right, for the few exceptions that exist of people who dropped out, like Richard Branson. And the list is quite long. I go to uni to study business, hoping they're going to teach me how to make money and how to run businesses because I was studying business administration.
Right.
And I get there, they're not really teaching me how to make money.
No, they're not.
Half of what they're teaching me, in fact, 90% of what they're teaching me is how to be an employee.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's business admin, and you only know that after you've done. Because I was studying business admin as well, and the only course I liked in business administration was the marketing aspect because
I enjoyed that one as well,
that felt brand new. Like, oh, great! So because marketing is basically manipulation, and there's all this psychological stuff to it, and that's probably why I'm good at marketing because I remember. Part of like the course that you have to attach to your marketing course was psychology. And in psychology, they teach you about the psychology of marketing. So I remember, okay, cool, if we do this and do this, people have this perception. So I like that. But everything else about business admin, I dropped out because of it. But then, in hindsight, now that I'm running businesses, I'm so grateful that I went through business.
Same.
Yeah.
A lot of what I apply even to this day is most of what I learned in the first year of uni. And I still apply that.
Yeah.
I didn't need to graduate to.
And you know what's funny about life, yeah? Like, whether you believe in God or whatever you believe, I mean, I believe in God, but whatever you believe in, everything makes sense when you look at it from the end.
Connecting the dots going backwards.
In
Like
hindsight,
Steve Jobs said,
everything makes sense because, see, when I look at my journey, I'm like, okay, cool. So I did med school, I did law school, I did business school. All these were useless stuff. Then I ended up becoming a filmmaker, okay? I'm here now and I'm running businesses. Like, I can read an entire contract by myself and understand it, interpret it, and basically
because of
my experience in law school. Yeah.
That's dangerous.
No, well, it's not because when I don't understand it, I have lawyers on standby. But the point is, even lawyers can lie to you, and I've had that experience many times in my life. You know what I mean? Where a lawyer is just telling you stuff that don't make sense. So it helps to understand. Number two, I really get sick. Maybe it's to do with my blood type, but when I do get sick, I do obviously not crazy sick, but like I have remedies that can look after me, especially
from medical
school. Does that make sense? And so everything sort of found a way of just tying up together. So when I was running, when I'm making films, it's the film business. But then I'm good at running a record label because of my background as a musician. So everything found a way of tying it together.
Your story is almost very similar to Steve Jobs. He went into all these, he dropped out, but he had attended so many classes and everything he learned, most of what he learned in those classrooms, he came back now to make the gadgets we're using today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He just made a lot more money than I did.
Exactly. And even said, if I had not been to calligraphy class, Bill Gates would not have been able to make Microsoft Word.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Connecting the dots going backwards.
Absolutely.
I brought up that issue of the school thing because, and I think Steve Jobs is one of the best examples when it comes to this. And Richard Branson, and Nelson's still going to argue they're few. And I agree with that.
Well, you're done.
No, but there's points that I want to ask you that I keep forgetting.
Because
take notes, bruv. Take notes.
There's an interesting book by Robert Kiyosaki. Why the A students work for the C students and why the B students work for the government.
Yeah.
And I'll still go back to the example I gave of myself at business school and how I felt business school was preparing me mostly for employment. Yeah. Because when you get to the real world, you get to find out how much you're not taught in business school.
100%.
How to...
I mean, I was labeled educably mentally retarded by my school teachers.
Look at you. I think of you as one of the smartest people I know, bro.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, school trains you, and I agree with you 100%. School trains you for employment because I would always, even without the accolades, I would always sort of defend myself. I would always think outside the box. Do you know what I mean? And school really doesn't train you to be a lateral thinker. Is that have I used the word correctly?
Yeah. It is, because at the end of the day, you're having kids in a classroom and having them compete in one exam.
Precisely.
You know what I mean?
Precisely.
You're asking a monkey to swim and a fish to climb a tree.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't agree.
No, true story. Dude,
but let me hear why he doesn't agree. Why don't you agree?
So, what I feel school teaches you is to think on your feet. What I feel school teaches
on
you...
the contrary.
...is... Now, hold on. Let me finish off. What I feel school teaches you is gives you tools where you are able to identify things pretty quickly. Half the things that I learned in school are things that it depends with what exactly we're talking about. So I did 2 things in a university, but when I speak about my computer engineering, so it's a literal tool that they give you that you use to make money, right? But when you speak about, say, business development, for example, you are able to assess a situation based off its own merit because of what you might have been taught.
Okay.
Which I feel you'd get to learn. If you haven't done that, you'd get to learn by making those mistakes. And depending on how quick you are at learning your mistakes, you might repeat those over and over again. But when you go to school and you're faced with a situation, you'd be like, this is fucking familiar. Because we spoke about this. So you're prone to make less mistakes and you're bound to navigate differently to somebody who didn't go to school. Is gonna step into that hole. And if they don't learn, they're not step into the same hole 3-4 times, and on the 5th time they get it right.
I agree. But you don't. But the point is, I don't think you're disagreeing because you've basically agreed to our point just from a different perspective. School does teach you to think and like have the basis to analyze situations. But what he was getting at was in school, for instance.
No, my point was I was disagreeing on the employee part. That based,
maybe the word I used was not too broad.
Based off what you want to do. If you're looking at it from the lens of, they're teaching me how to be an accountant. It's something different.
That's
right?
professional course. Yes, you need that. You need to finish accounts to be a good accountant.
How I looked at it, despite what I studied, was that I have the tools that if I hire somebody who's doing accountancy or who's doing this,
you know what?
I know what the fuck they're doing. So I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the boss, but then
you know what needs to be done. 100%. But you see what my thing is, and like. As much as I advocate for school, here's the only problem I have with school. School has one standard, and I understand why it has one standard because you can't really set multiple standards trying to teach people get them to the same goal, okay? Especially your early days of school before you get into professional learning, which is university. I didn't know that I was a filmmaker in school. That was almost discovered by accident. So does that make sense? Because I could have easily graduated as a lawyer, and I would have been a miserable person in life, but then I would never have known what my quote-unquote purpose or calling is because it wasn't the school's job to allow me to find who I was, okay? Nor was it my parents, because my parents, like, the first time I told my parents I was going to become a filmmaker and, like, go into professional studies and become a filmmaker, they looked at me and said, why do you want to be a failure? Why are you doing this to our family? You want to be a cameraman like Papa Jules? Because there was a man who used to like film weddings. So that was that's
of coins, bro.
That's all that
coins dead.
That's all that they knew. Do you know what I mean? So neither school nor your parents will know what's good for you in way of your calling, and so they will just guide you and like navigate you towards what they think is safe. So that's why I'm sort of going to agree with him, because if I wasn't as stubborn or as hard-headed or as focused as I was as a young man, I probably wouldn't have been where I am, because I have brothers and cousins who studied what they thought was the right thing because everything around them made sense. They graduated with degrees that they can't use. They hate their jobs. So there is an aspect of school that's very binary.
So I agree partially to what you're saying, and I kind of disagree because there are some schools that, my son's school, for example, they do pick up traits in what the kid does, and
they recommend them to you.
2024. So they don't force anything down your throat.
But 2024.
You get what I mean?
Understand the difference.
Well, you say school. You didn't say back then.
Cool.
So
no, but
we're
like
talking
generally, your son doesn't go to a normal school. You pay a lot of money for your son's school.
Right.
So they are paid to pay attention to the stuff you need them to.
However, the fact that those schools have that right means that also can transcend
to normal schools.
To normal schools.
No, it can't, because it's money. You're dealing with teachers who are paid 15 times what quote unquote normal teachers are paid. So they have the time and the passion to develop passion to teach kids. Some schools are coming there to get their hours done. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's not speak from a privileged perspective.
I get what you're saying, but I guess if the curriculum changes, here's a perfect
Curriculum
example.
needs to change, bro.
Yeah, here's a perfect example. The school
country.
that I went to would your sporting aspect of your life was just as important as your academic.
PE, yes.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
And that was just a standard rule.
Yes.
And there are some countries where they pass that as a standard.
Right.
You do get so.
Yeah.
If you sit and you look at the education system, you should be able to say, can we focus on say PE, say music, or whatever else it is, as a standard?
Yes.
If you take a look at Zimbabwe, for example, for the longest time, the largest budget was allocated to education, way more than defense.
Right.
So it depends with what a government feels they want to improve in their people.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
if they sit with the Minister of Education and they say, guys,
Who is our Minister of Education here?
very good question. I don't know. Drew, maybe you want to Google that.
Do you know, that's weird because, like, we know all the other ministers, but I'm sitting and just realizing, oh my God, I don't know the Minister of Education. That's mad.
Who's the Minister of Education?
Do you want to Google that? The Minister of
Who's our
Education.
Minister of Education?
Minister of Education. Isn't that crazy that we don't know who this person is?
And yet they shape the future.
Yeah, of the
whole
country.
nation,
yeah.
bruh.
Yeah.
You should bring them on the podcast.
I think we should. Because we need to talk about the curriculum.
Yeah.
You know, that actually moved my kids from the school. Douglas Usia, what?
That's the most unpopular minister. Because what? Please bring this minister on the podcast. Like I feel the nation needs to know who they are and like literally.
And why things are not changing. I moved my kids from...
I don't know. Okay, cool. I was about to say, I don't know if you want to say the name of the school.
The school where they were at. Very big, expensive school in this city. Dude, they bring their homework home. I don't know why we have to start doing work with them when they knock off from school. But they bring, and I'm checking the books. These are books that we used back in the day. Not that they can't learn how to read from the same books that we used.
Yeah.
But then
They
it gets
should
me
have
curious to investigate
Yes.
how much they're still doing
Correct.
of the same thing that we did back in 1992.
What?
And I find nothing has changed.
Oh no.
And my older daughter is one who's very sharp and she watches a lot of things on YouTube. And she'll say, Dad, these people are learning how to use computers. When we go for computers, all we learn is how to turn the thing on and turn it off. And that's what we've been doing the whole term.
An expensive school.
Yes. Really big name in Lusaka. So I started paying more attention. So I moved them to a Cambridge school.
You see what I was saying?
My daughter can code now. In one term, she can code. Coding is what my daughter
Can you see what I was
saying?
saying about like speaking from a place of privilege, yeah? And like it's privilege, but also it's attention to detail. Some people are, and you know, it's interesting. We're saying this on Mother's Day. Some people are, what's the word? Daddies and mummies, and not parents. Does that make sense? Like they, as long as you've ticked the box of
They've gone to school.
They've gone to school. They're supposed to do their homework. They don't really take a keen interest into understanding what are you actually doing. I remember one time I was sitting and I was watching one of these like fake cartoons that kids watch, and you know I was just intrigued. And I'm not a parent, do you know what I mean? I was just watching it with all my little cousins. And,
Oh, not that you know of.
Huh? Well,
No children that you know of.
I definitely know. Yeah. But it's funny. Okay, anyway, we get to that later. So I'm watching it, and it's funny, and it's all of that stuff, and then you get to a point where the cartoon almost takes a U-turn. And all of a sudden they're talking about homosexuality and this and that.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
What the fuck is going on?
How did we, do you know what I mean? So like, and parents will just put on the TV, go sleep, do something else and let the kids.
And let the TV raise their fucking children.
And that's the same with school sometimes. Sometimes parents just send the kids to school, they've ticked off a box to say kids have gone to school, but they're not paying attention to what the kids are learning. And then when your kid is now 16 and they can't do what you would term, thank you so much. They can't do what you term normal basic skills, you start wondering, how did I go wrong? But it is that. Like, not all schools are the same and not all parents are the same. Yeah.
Dude, so the school I've taken my kids to now, there's more attention to, like you said, they're picking out things that your kid likes. Like even sports, term one, they'll have them playing 4 or 5 sports. There's tennis, there's swimming, there's basketball, there's soccer.
I like that they do swimming because that's something that a lot of Africans
dude, for me,
overlook.
any school my kids go to has to have swimming.
Yeah.
I can swim.
Yeah.
And I want to throw them in a pool. I want to throw them in a river any day. Or they end up in a river any day.
Of course.
I want to make sure they're able to swim.
Yeah.
So
Can
I'm
you
loving
swim? Can you lot swim?
This guy can't swim.
Bloody hell, mate.
You can't.
Such an overlooked life skill from a lot of black people. You know that?
Fuck no, I cannot swim.
Oh, you can't swim?
Hell the fuck no.
So what
I
happens
remember
if-
when Livingston, this thing was just me in the pool like...
Do you know what? Do you know, it's so bad. Like, it's
Nigga, you went
so
to good
bad.
schools. How can't you swim?
Because I didn't want to learn how to swim.
Wow.
Why?
I don't know. I don't give a goddamn about swimming. I don't.
Do you know, it's a thing I always say on my post, yeah? It's better to have an education and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Yeah.
The same thing with swimming. You better know how to swim and not need to swim.
Oh, of course.
Until you find yourself in a situation.
You say what?
Like,
Now I feel like throwing outside in the pool. Just see what happens.
Yo.
And you know what, I love kayaking.
So how
Yeah,
you gonna?
and you're adrenaline
So when that thing
junkie.
flips, how you
You
gonna?
say what?
You are an adrenaline junkie, innit?
Man,
Yeah, I saw you bungee jumping. I was like, this man.
I didn't bungee jump.
Dude, so when you go
No,
kayaking
but
and that thing,
or you jumped out of an airplane.
Yes,
hold on. So when you go kayaking and that thing flips, what's gonna happen to you?
I've got a life jacket on. And
It's gonna float away.
And I pay white people to be close. If you see when I
man
kayak,
said white
there's a
people.
white person next to me.
You trust him, yeah?
You say what?
You trust him.
I trust my money.
Fair enough.
Dude, speaking of school, I'm getting more and more. I think I posted this about a month or two ago. I'm getting more and more kids in my inbox telling me they're quitting uni as well because you did it. I'm also gonna do it.
See why it's dangerous for you to keep
You're
talking
the one who
about
brought
that
it up. I've
rhetoric.
never mentioned that I'm a college dropout on this podcast. You brought it up.
And you
kept emphasizing in every episode.
Oh, my bad.
Well, no. The answer is no. So I get
What's the question? What are you saying no to?
like dropping out of school
Kids
because
who,
he's done.
I've got a lot of kids coming to my inbox telling me
Oh,
right now,
right,
dude,
right.
I'm not being inspired. I'm also going to drop out. Others have dropped out. There's what? Wait. Okay, yeah.
Wow. I just hope they listen to this podcast. Like they follow that thing that I said. Do you know what I mean? Like the only thing you can't change in life is time. None of us know how much time we have left. Do you know what I mean? So half of them want to be able to drop out of school because they think they're going to be as rich as you are. Okay, that's not guaranteed. Doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, there's a plethora of college dropouts who were broke and doing what he said they do. So it's not a guaranteed thing. And, you know, my question always is, it's like even the kids, like now that I've got the record label, you get a lot of kids coming to my inbox, oh, big man, I just want to do my music, you know, I'm talented and just sign me on and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And I give it to them very plainly. Do you realize that the first thing after you decide to drop out and I sign you is we're going to talk about your contract. You don't have money. You don't have an education to understand half of the stuff on that paper. So you're basically going to sign your life away to me and I can take the absolute mick if I wanted to.
He can be a did if he wants.
Yeah.
You know,
But like honestly, I could take the absolute mick. I could give you 1% of all your music and all your
In
royalties.
perpetuity,
Yeah,
actually.
and you won't understand because I know the language to use that you won't be able to understand. So school just remains undefeated. Like it will protect you against more than you can imagine. I walk into board meetings now with, 50, 70-year-old men who look at you and, look at your age, look at how you dress and how you talk, and they're quite condescending. But then when you start opening your mouth to speak, they realize, oh my God, like this kid knows what he's doing. School helped with that. So, it's not for everyone, but if I were Minister of Education, I would sort of make it mandatory that you have to do X amount of school before you sort of decide to do what you want to do with your life.
The other thing as well that I've picked up is it gives you options.
It does.
School gives you options. Right now, I'm a business owner, and I was in Livingston about a week ago.
About a week ago.
And so one of my businesses is a partner with one of the MNOs, right? And I'm sitting with the CEO.
Oh yeah, I remember that business.
Yeah, so I'm sitting with the CEO, and we're having a discussion back and forth. So the guy's been in the country for a year. So we're having a back and forth. It's the first time that he's meeting me. So he says, so he takes a look at like what I do, and he says, look, we've had a lot of people leave the organization. I'd like to offer you a job.
No way.
Keep your company running, get someone to run your company, come and join this organization.
Like it's just that easy, yeah?
And we had this conversation over dinner, and the amount of money that he offered me,
Ridiculous.
I looked at this and I'm like,
Are you thinking about it, though?
no, I'm not. He
You
would
said
not.
no.
Yeah, I said no.
Okay. Anyway, you go on.
He would not have given me that offer
If you weren't, yeah.
If you weren't qualified, if you
Yes.
didn't go to school,
Yes.
you get what I mean.
100%.
So it gives you options to say, okay, fine, I'm gonna try this entrepreneur shit out. Push comes to shove. So I'm gonna give it my best,
Yeah.
right? Push comes to
I got my
shove.
options, yeah.
If it doesn't work,
Yeah.
I'll fall back into employment
Absolutely.
as I regroup myself.
Yeah.
get capital.
And at a high level as well, not just any sort of employment. And
Fuck yeah. Right now, if I have to get a job right now, I'm not going to get, it's going to be a high level job.
£5,000.
Yeah, so I feel like it also gives you options, and nobody can take that paper away from you.
Agreed.
And I think for kids who just look at me as the college dropout that started making moves and whatever, I think I'm looking at it the wrong way. I think you need to investigate more of what kind of a lifestyle did I live to get to this
They
point.
don't have that context.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because while I dropped out of uni, I think one culture I picked up more than any other human being around me was the reading culture.
Yes.
I may not have had the degree, but I read so much, bro. I've
You
still
read
got a
as
big
much
You've
as
been
a
to my
degree.
home. There's a big ass library.
You read as
at
much
my
as
house.
a degree holder. innit?
Exactly.
Yeah. You just don't have the paper.
And still, one of my favorite books is What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School.
Right.
And there's so much at business school that they leave out. Things like persistent. They won't teach you that at
No,
university.
they can't. No.
So I know when I go to an
How do you
MNO.
get
Like,
graded on persistence?
exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Persistence. There's language on the street that gets me deals that I won't learn in university as well. You know what I mean?
But then again, see, the problem that I have, especially with what you've just mentioned, and I've said this about motivational speakers, I don't know if there's a book that can teach you or tell you to be persistent, because if certain factors in your life do not give you the drive to be persistent, poverty, being a parent, being the best in your generation, trying to create generational wealth, if those things do
Also
not
desire.
teach you, and desire, I don't know if there's a book that you can read that you'll say, oh, well, it's because I read this book that I'm going to be persistent. Right now, the thing that gets me to push is my fucking child.
For me, from day one, before I even had kids, is something I picked up from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
He says the starting point of any... For me, number one was the desire to succeed. I had seen too many people around me buying Mercs and houses and whatever. And I wanted to find out how they did it. So I started reading certain books. One of the first books I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And chapter one is the starting point of success is desire.
Right.
You know what I mean? You've got your child, but you've got the desire to make his life better.
Right.
The desire. So from there, I started figuring out, like, okay, cool. I want this desire to have the desire, the hunger.
Speaking of desire, one of the things that people attack me a lot on is the same. So remember, I had a whole, I think it was even lost of the week. People kept coming at me saying, "No, you were spoon fed your whole life. You grew up with a silver spoon, and you can't come here and tell us how stuff is done."
True.
That's nonsense. Listen, and this is what I said to them: like, you can't attack quote unquote successful kids because their parents did what parents are supposed to do. That's nonsense. If your parents didn't leave anything for you and decided to make it hard for you, it doesn't make you better than mine. Because it takes just as much effort to maintain wealth as it does growing it.
Let me ask you a question.
Thank you. That argument was actually raised, I think, 2-3 days ago when Chella Tukta was attacking Simon for... Chella, I think, said something to the effect of, I've hustled for what I have today. You just inherited stuff from your father. And then I was looking at the conversation like, okay, so what's wrong with somebody leaving you something and you grow upon it? Because I think it's unfair to say Simon is doing nothing, he just inherited it.
Absolutely unfair.
Dude, to maintain that business,
Mate,
that's work.
And people run businesses, so you lot run businesses, you understand this. One mistake can get your business from being on top to being at the bottom. True. Now, you've got to maintain a certain standard and elevate it from something that happened before you were born. That takes work, that takes time, that takes brains. So to undermine anyone who comes, from second generation wealth and whatever it is completely absurd. Like, it's nonsense to me because that is the goal. Like, we all, like, I'm doing this for my kids. I want to make sure that
their kids.
And their kids. And then they do it for their kids and so on and so forth. So the idea of frowning upon, what are they called? Nepo kids? Like kids who come from wealth is nonsense to me because you're assuming poverty is the starting point
for everyone.
Of course you'd say that because you're in that situation.
No, but
You don't know any other.
What was your situation?
That's
why I asked.
Yeah. No, but the point is this. I feel anyone who comes from wealth and manages to maintain wealth should be celebrated as much as someone who comes from nothing and manages to build something.
Maintain is relative, right? So here's my question. Grow. There you go. Here's my question.
Even maintenance, you can lose it.
No, hold on. So here's my question. Had Oscar not been who he is at heart, would you be CEO? 1. 2, is there anybody that you found there who is more qualified to have been at the position of CEO other than you?
Okay, so my answer is very simple. Before I was appointed CEO at Hot, I was CEO of Kazadi. So
But that's your company.
No, that's our company.
Who's
all
our?
The
With
businesses.
his uncle. Remember he mentioned this in the last episode?
Yeah. All the businesses are family businesses.
I hear you. He's an investor, right?
Yes.
And I think also Muka to some extent. I get that. They are your relatives. Again, it still goes back to the same question that I asked you. Had Oscar not been who he is at Hot, would you have been CEO of Hot FM?
Hot FM?
Yes, that's one.
Okay.
Two, is there anybody currently at Hot now, academically more qualified than you, who spent more time, who knows more about radio than you?
Is there anyone at Hot FM who's more qualified than I
More
am?
experienced than you in radio. People like
More experienced than me in radio, 110%.
And in business
110%.
too.
In business, no. Because I've been around the business before I could...
Which business?
All the businesses. You have to remember, a lot of these businesses were structured in our dining table back in the UK. Like, I was there watching all the structures. That's what motivated me to even build Kazadi Films. Because, 19-year-old me would see the blueprint for Hot FM, the blueprint for Zizwa, like all these businesses. I just wasn't old enough or qualified enough to sort of venture into these things. So even when, before I came to Zambia, Kazadi Films was running very successfully in the UK. Do you know what I mean? We were doing Ed Sheeran's video, what's his name? Azonto guy. Anyway, we were doing a lot of music videos and commercials. So there's a certain level of business acumen that I had to develop, backed by school and qualifications that made me the right person to come here. But to answer your question, are there people more qualified than me at Hot FM? I think so. But I don't think I got the position because I'm family, because there are family members. Like, remember, it's a family-run business. We have a bunch of family members who work in the businesses in different capacities. I got it because out of everyone who was there, I was the most qualified now. So it wasn't an inheritance, because that's sort of where you're running with it, because there are other people who could have done the job, but it was, of all the qualified people, family or non-family, who's the best person to run it now? And I stood out.
Why were you?
Because I'm flipping good at what I do.
and also
So essentially, let me reiterate this. You don't feel business-wise there's anybody more qualified to run Hot FM
Right now?
right now than you. So don't you think that you are failing? Because if you're to run a successful business, you need people that are smarter than you, that are more qualified than you. Because if you are the smartest in the room, then you failed.
No, not necessarily. I would have failed if I was running it like this for the next 2 to 3 years. I've been running it for the past 9 months.
Doesn't matter.
Of course it matters.
No, hold on. The question though is, if the entire organization, we have David Kazadi, who is the most qualified, nobody else,
CEO.
yes, to be CEO,
Yes.
nobody else that has been there way longer than you, or who knows the radio business, who knows how to navigate this media space.
Your
thinking is a little flawed on this one.
I'll tell you
Your
why.
thinking is flawed.
I'll tell you
Because
why.
it takes an
No, hold on. I want to hear.
Okay,
go ahead.
And I'll give you an example of people like, I know you're saying he needs to have people smarter than him running these things for it to grow, right? That's your logic,
No,
right?
no, that's not what I asked him.
That's what you said. You said if we don't
If
have
he's the
people-
smartest there, then it's failing.
The business is failing.
Correct.
Yeah, but
in the room.
that's what you're saying. The problem is this.
Richard Branson has never been the smartest human.
Your thinking is flawed.
So Richard, hold on.
Yeah.
So Richard, being a college dropout, will hire people that are smarter than him to do things that he cannot do.
So you say
that
that people
he
below
doesn't
him
know.
are not smarter than him.
No, my point is he needs people that are more qualified, that know more than him.
But they
They're
are.
there.
That's what you
They're
said.
there.
Yeah, but that's my point. That's why I said people that are smarter and more qualified. He said they aren't. I asked him,
There isn't anyone qualified to be CEO.
what makes a person qualified to be CEO?
Vision. That's what a CEO is.
But how do you know who's qualified, who has the vision or not?
The board of directors, through the founders, create the vision for where the company needs to go. Then they assess among the people based on specific qualities that they have and just the ability to be resilient, like you've said, to be able to push the vision forward and maybe elevate the vision. When that assessment was done, while there are people who have specific skills, there are people who are radio geniuses, there are people who are account geniuses and legal geniuses and HR geniuses, it took one person to sort of have the quality to bring them all to work together. That's what the job of a CEO is.
Do you know why I'm pushing back a lot? Because from where I sit, Zizwa was a massive fail.
No, it wasn't.
Where is it now?
It's functioning in the UK.
You launched it here, right?
Yes.
Is it functional here?
No, but that's
Why?
not because it failed.
So why is it not?
So we brought a system that was 5 years ahead of its time. So it wasn't a fail.
Why did you?
Why did we do it? Because you have to test things. The only way to know whether something can and cannot work is by testing it. That's why Elon Musk has blown up so many.
So
space
why is
shuttles.
Netflix working here and Zizwa isn't?
Netflix is not working here. The subscription in Zambia Netflix is less than 5%.
Hold on.
Less than 5%
Of what?
of subscriptions, like from Zambia alone. So out of the 20 million people that we do have, there's less than 5% Zambia subscribers.
Yeah, but the question is why. Okay, so what are people watching now in Zambia?
Facebook, Muzukanji and
No,
whoever
people
it is.
people don't watch that. People are using streaming services.
No, they're not used.
So the reason, so again,
Go
look,
ahead. No,
Yeah.
I see where you're going, and I've got the perfect rebuttal.
right. Zizwa launched.
Yeah.
Zizwa made so much noise, and it just went dead.
Yeah.
You started Kazadi Films, did one or two things that ended up on YouTube and whatnot, and then it died, and then now you moved on to the music.
Kazadi Films is not dead.
So what have you done lately?
What have we done at Kazadi Films? It's a good question you ask.
That's-
Kazadi Films from... let's talk this year, okay? Because last year you were talking about the YouTube stuff and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
From this year, the assumption that people have is if you're not making the most noise, then you're not doing nothing, okay? Kazadi Films as a production company makes films, TV shows, adverts,
Music videos.
music videos. Well, music videos more so because of the music thing. Commercial adverts and corporate videos. Okay, films are not a thing that you invest in every year because these are millions and millions of dollars and millions of pounds. It's a project you do once and you still make money.
Right.
Like till this day, I'm still making money from Black Dollar and not small money. Okay, and this was done 4 years ago. Okay, what keeps a production company consistent is the middle thing, the commercials. As long as you're still making commercials and you're still like shooting corporate videos, then you're making money. Now, corporate and commercial videos aren't things you go out and say, oh, look at what we've done. No, because it's not your product. You're doing it on behalf of another client. So you do it, you get your money and you move on. But in way of quote unquote the big things, there are big things that are in the pipeline. For instance, we are planning to shoot Black Dollar 2. We want to bring someone like Idris Elba. But that's not like, that's 20 million pounds worth of a project. So it's not something you're going to do off the back of something else. Are you catching my drift? This year that's coming, we're launching. When is this episode airing?
20th.
One Tuesday
Okay,
away.
perfect. So I can say this. We're launching our talent show called The Icon. Okay? And in The Icon, it's like, your idols type, people come and sing and they get to win a record label. They win 100,000 kwacha. They win a house, a car. They win, what else are they winning? 1 year medical insurance care. They win food supply for an entire year, etc. So it's a big, big, big thing. Now, these things can only be facilitated by the middle thing that I've said. That's where Kazadi Films is concerned.
So
that's
commercials is what you're doing.
commercials, yeah, we do a lot of commercials. So that's not failed because we're not making noise. Now, to answer your first question about Zizwa was not a failed project. You have to remember why Zizwa was firstly created. Zizwa was created off the back of the success of Divorce Club. So one of the things that the country has at large, where media is concerned, all these guys know it, anyone who's watching from the media sector knows it, is a lot of the media filmmakers in the country are broke. Let's just establish that. And they're not broke because they're not smart or because they're not creative, because the structures don't exist. For example, Zambia does not own a single cinema. Did you know that? Not a single cinema. So how on earth are you a filmmaker, investing whatever money you're making, going to be able to sustain yourself? Let's take, for example, you had him on your show, what's his name? Cosmas. You had Cosmas on your show, and he shot Muzukanji and he spent all of that money and okay? He said what, he spent 800,000, 900,000?
Yeah,
about $1 million
give or
kwacha,
take,
okay?
yeah.
$1 million kwacha, firstly, is obviously a shoestring budget in the grand scheme of things, but let's run it from a Zambian narrative. Do you know how hard it is for him to make that money back? Just $1 million.
We even asked that, yeah.
Why? Because he's going to do the premiere in this place. The premiere itself has costs attached to it, from your backdrop, your red carpets, the guy doing sound, the cinema itself. And if you're dealing with these cinemas that he's dealing with, or whatever the holes are, but let's deal with cinema specifically, these are South African-owned cinemas. And most of the times, if they've not asked you for a 50-50 split, they will ask you for a 60-40 split in their favor. And a lot of people don't talk about this stuff. So,
Mulungushi, huh?
Yeah.
You said Mulungushi, yeah?
He said Mulungushi, but Mulungushi is going to cost him a good 35 to 40 grand. Okay, that's just for the whole. And then by the time he starts beautifying it and doing, it's a crazy expense. So now, even if you were to fill it up on that one day, okay? Elson comes in, you've paid your 5 grand. Do you know how many people you're giving free tickets to? How many people are asking for discounts? How many people are this and that? So by the time you look at your profit margins, they don't add up. The reason Hollywood makes as much money as they do is because they have infrastructure for cinemas. Now, Netflix came to sort of destabilize that system, and that's why you have video on demand, like streaming and so on and so forth, because as opposed to me going to the cinema and sitting and watching this thing that makes them, that's why they call them open box office weekends, I can sit at home and based on my subscription, I get to watch it. That only works because of volume. The reason Netflix will not give Zambia anything above, give or take $100,000 for any project you do is because the numbers don't exist. You're not going to make the money back. So what they will do is they will say to you, we're going to take your movie, we're going to pay you these peanuts, but we're going to keep the rights to your movie for 5 years because they're looking at length. So if your movie is played over 5 years, whatever, $50, $60, $70,000 we've given you, we'll get to make back in time, but it's not because most of your people watched it. That's why Zizzle couldn't work in Zambia, because we were trying to bring something that was ahead of his system. Now, we knew this because we sort of tested it before, but there's no real test in actually testing it out. So when we tested it out on the market, we have all the marketing tools, we used all our radio stations, all our capacities. People did subscribe, we made a bit of money, but then sustenance wasn't making sense because to be able to have the servers alone was costing us $20,000 every month. Yeah.
Right, so here I'm looking at a website called statia.com.
Stat what?
Statia.
So Kenny Rock didn't make his money. Can they see?
First point says the projected revenue for the video on demand in the market of Zambia will be 22.3 million by 2024. It is expected 22.3 million by this year. It is expected to exhibit an annual growth of 13%.
Okay. Based on what research? Give me the facts. Name me 3 films in Zambia that have made 1 million.
I'm telling you the stats that I hear.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you is a lot of that is flawed. You're dealing with an expert and professional in the industry. Like I've worked, and I say this not from an arrogant perspective. I have gone where a lot of filmmakers want to go. I've seen the light. I've been to the promised land. Name me a single Zambian movie that has come out between, when did I come? Between 2019 to now. Hold on.
No, those are 2 different things here.
No, but that's what I'm answering the same thing. It's the same thing.
You say what?
Let him finish
It's
his point.
exactly the same thing.
Could be going somewhere.
A movie in Zambia that has grossed, okay, domestically or internationally, more than $300,000.
Can they see us? Hasn't done that?
Nope.
No, well, what does that have to do with the streaming services that I'm talking about?
Because you're basing those numbers from what the sort of gross we'll make as Zambians, right? That's what the stats are declaring, which is false.
How?
Because who is streaming that many Zambian movies? Who's producing that many Zambian
Nobody
movies?
said anything about Zambian movies. We're talking about streaming in Zambia. Yes. Doesn't matter the content that is being streamed.
No.
We're talking about, so what I mentioned here was, hold on. What I mentioned here was streaming.
Yes.
I didn't say what content is being streamed. So this revenue is what is coming out of Zambia from streaming services.
It's not true.
What is being streamed is
but
irrelevant at this point.
It's not true because you have to pin it to the source, okay? A lot of Zambians are on Facebook, okay? Is Zambian Facebook monetized?
No.
Okay? How many adverts do you see when you scroll through Zambian Facebook that are international adverts?
0.
0, okay? That means there is no money coming out from Zambian Facebook, okay? For the company, Meta, or for Zambians. Let's just base it there. Then we move on to, because Instagram and Meta and Facebook are the same, Meta. Then we move on to, let's assume, YouTube, okay? You guys run this podcast and you've been running it for a couple of years. How many ads do you see as pre-rolled ads on any of your episodes? Not many. Once in a blue moon. Okay?
Zero. We only see when we go to South Africa, right?
You say what?
When you go
The
to
pre-roll
SA, you're
ads.
going to see a bunch of ads when you're watching
Yeah, when you watch this podcast
So
in
that
SA.
means there is no companies putting in pre-rolled ads through Google ad placement for the Zambian market. Okay? So now we move on to Netflix that has less than 5%. Less than 5% of Zambian consumers are not going to make you that kind of money in 1 year. So the research is flawed.
Okay, so they broke it down into the graph.
Okay.
Where video streaming is the highest, and
Did they
followed
mention which
by you say what?
Did they mention the platform? Which platform?
No, I'm still going through it now because I just opened this now, so I'm trying to figure out what platforms these are.
Okay, figure it out. And you talk about the productions that you're working on. There's a Natasha series coming up as well.
Yes, there is.
You guys did like 1 million views in a short space of time for
3 days.
the trailer.
In 3 days.
days.
Yes, sir.
Real views.
Yeah, I still don't know how to buy views.
Why, how do we know this?
How do you know this? Because I've told you. No, I'm joking. To be honest, what's the point? Because buying Zambian views is as useless as anything because it's not going to do nothing.
Well, the point is what you're doing right now, where you come onto platforms and you say, no, my artists are able to garner 1 million views within a short period of time.
But if it doesn't make me money, then it's not sustainable. There's no point in flexing if you're not making money.
So how are you making money right now from your artists?
From my musical artists, streams. We get really good streams.
Or
Like,
which platforms?
Really, really good.
Which
All
platforms?
of them. Even including the ones that I don't like.
Boomplay.
Yeah, like hear this.
Spotify.
Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Meta, TikTok. Like we make money across all platforms. I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but like I'm not a big fan of Boomplay because of the same nonsense.
I'm not either. I've said this over and over again.
Yeah.
I hate Boomplay.
Now the problem is I don't know if I can say this now based on the politics, but it is what it is. I'm not a big fan, but when Boomplay streams do come through, for Africa they are the highest. So you find you've made $3,000 here, $2,000 here, $500 here, blah blah. But Boomplay will just beat all of them. So there is
In terms of revenue.
for Africa.
So you're making the most from Boomplay as well.
So when you get your royalties, they sort of break them down, isn't it?
Right.
So if I put each DSP independently, so Apple Music versus Boomplay, Boomplay is higher. Spotify versus Boomplay, Boomplay is higher. But if I were to compare the amount of streams that we have on Boomplay, how do I put it? So if for instance we get 4 million streams on Boomplay and they pay you $19,000, and then you get 3 million streams on Apple and they pay you maybe $500, $600, so you're like, okay, cool. There's a lot more people streaming here, but the revenues don't quite add up because if I was getting the same amount of streams from here to here, I'll be a billionaire. Does that make sense? So there is still a need to educate people to start streaming on these DSPs more so than Boomplay, but that's like a long conversation. It's like what I was saying about the cinemas.
Because the phones from China are coming with Boomplay already.
Precisely.
Are you getting paid a lot of money from Boomplay?
Yeah,
You are?
Yeah.
So why don't you like them still?
because the business ecosystem is flawed.
How so?
It's all connected. So film and music are so intertwined. It's unbelievable. So remember I said there was no cinemas, right? So because there's no cinemas, there's no way for real content creators to make money. Okay. So now a lot of content creators are moving towards the digital spaces. Now in the digital spaces, you only get to make real money if you have ad placements, and most of the ad placements can't be. I'm wearing what am I wearing? I'm wearing Burberry, so come and buy Burberry. That's not ad placement. That's product placement, which is a very different thing. And with product placements, you have to approach the companies and advertise on their behalf. Ad placement is done for you from the advertisers
Yeah, of
from
course,
the back
now I
end.
get that, yeah.
To the people who don't get it. So now, if you're a content creator in Zambia and you're putting your stuff out on YouTube or Facebook and stuff, so on and so forth, you're kind of hoping that you're going to make money by chance. Whereas someone in countries that are monetized know that they're going to make for each view that they're going to get to see. So now, that was one of the reasons we created Zizzo Plus, because there is a need. Even now, there still is a need. Whether we're doing it digitally by creating a Zizzo Plus or we build physical cinemas, Zambian filmmakers will not make money unless we create infrastructures that allow for distribution. And that's across all the businesses. So now you take that same blueprint and you bring it to music. Music does have a sort of system which allows artists to monetize. So that's your Boomplay, your Spotify, and so on and so forth. But none of those monetization streams, the DSPs, are Zambian owned. And I always say this to artists. So if I sign you, for instance, and I have a platform, okay, that allows every Zambian to pay 1 kwacha for your streams, okay? My artist's first song was at 4 million. I would have made what? 4 million kwacha. What's 4 million kwacha today, Elson?
What's 4 million kwacha?
4 million
in what?
kwacha today in dollars. What's 4 million
It's
kwacha?
27, right?
That's what, 250,000?
200 and what? Let's just get the accurate numbers. And this is
Yeah,
one
but
kwacha.
148.
$148,000, right? Name me artists who are getting that kind of money. There aren't.
So artists, by what you're saying, how much does Boomplay pay, and how do they grade how much they pay?
That's what I said. It's flawed. Their system is flawed because on one day you're going to get 10 million streams and get paid, $300. The next day you get paid 400, maybe 500. And I'm sort of using these numbers interchangeably and loosely, but like there is no gradable system, so you can't know what you're going to get. So it's all by chance.
Okay.
And I understand the chance because you see, when Apple opens their year, they're going to say, we're going to put $10 million into ad placements, okay? And we want this $10 million to be broken between Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, Mozambique, whatever it is, okay? And whatever's left of that, they say, okay, you can throw this into this little country called Zambia. So whatever we do get that's, monetizable is breadcrumbs. And that's purely because we don't have systems. And so the film industry suffers, and so does the music industry. So what do we have to do as creators? We have to understand it and create infrastructure. So when someone comes to me and says, like Elson says, you've gone quiet, you're not doing stuff, I'll be like, my answer is always simple. Why am I going to invest another $1 million into a Zambian film that will basically go nowhere? Because I'm not going to make my money back.
Yeah. So essentially, I'm not really worried about what you're doing or what you aren't doing, because why I brought up Zizwa was at the back of what makes you qualified to be CEO. If we were to look
which
at
that completely digressed from.
which if we were to look at what you say qualifies you, and that can only be at the back of your own projects,
Yes,
and your own
My
businesses,
successes, yes.
that you've started to see what has been made of them.
Agreed. I mean, it's always on the back of what you've done successfully, but also off the back of being a CEO is a lot more about people than it is about the numbers. Because a lot of great CEOs or great leaders will tell you the greatest invention they will ever make is the people. So building systems and structures will make you a lot more successful than getting ones and zeros. And so...
How so?
Because we're still buying Apple products, because Steve Jobs built the best team at Apple that can still do it even when he's gone. And so the vision for any sort of successful company is understanding and building systems that do work.
But the same team kicked him out of Apple.
Yeah, but he still built...
And brought him back.
Yeah, and brought him back. But aside from that, he still built a very good system.
Still works.
Yeah.
But once again, he was known to be the worst leader. In terms of
Slave
temperament,
driving.
yes. In terms of temperament, he was a slave driver. He was a horrible person to work with. If you see or if you read anything about him, there's a reason why him and Steve Wozniak never really got along the way that they did.
Yes, I agree. But we weren't there, so we don't know whose side to pick on. But if we take their word for it, that's one thing. And cool, he was probably a horrible person. But the fact that we're still buying products that he invented till this day means he did a good job at building a team.
I don't know about a team. Because, I don't know about a team.
It is
I think when you have a very clear vision, you know where you want to go.
There you go. Yes. That I agree.
You know where you want to go. And half, or should I say, majority of people that are working with are not seeing the same vision. I think
you're going to lose your mind, yeah. Because you do that too.
I think Steve Jobs was of that mindset.
Because you have to understand this. If we were not buying Apple products today, then we would have said, cool, he failed. But the fact that we still are buying Apple products.
This is what, 10 years after he died.
No, I
Still
agree.
going.
I agree. But once again, the question wasn't that, is it a success or not? Is what made it a success?
The teams he built.
The Tim Cooks.
Yeah. By himself, he was a genius, marketing genius, but he didn't build Apple by himself. He built it with teams.
Systems.
A lot, systems. You know why a lot of African businesses fail? A lot of African businesses fail because Africans, and I say this loosely, so take it with a pinch of salt. Africans build businesses that only they understand.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so like it's the moment the founder dies, the business dies because we don't have the notion of building businesses that can be sold. Do you know what I mean? When I'm buying into a business, I want to buy structures and systems. I'm not buying your great idea. I'm not buying you. Do you know what I mean? So, and Americans and, Westerners understand that when you're building a company, you have to build systems, and systems are built through people.
I think I would agree more to the systems aspect and the process aspect more than the people aspect. Because people come and go. The team that you build comes and goes.
But then they build.
But if you have got a structure and a system in place, regardless of who comes and goes, that system is what will get those people, regardless. So I would lean more, and that's why I was pushing back on the people part, more on the system and the process part.
But the systems are
The people.
the people. So you're not disagreeing.
No, the system is you.
No.
Creating a system that people are
Creating
going
the
to
system
follow
is you, but
and align
the
with.
systems.
So once again, so here's the thing. You put a system in place.
Yeah.
The people that follow the system or that adhere to the system have found the system in place. So you create a system in place or a process.
Yeah, but then how do you know when the system doesn't work?
No, but once again, that's my point is whoever it is that is going to adhere to a system, they came and they found a system. So a CEO could be part of a system.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The board could have created a system or the owner of the company could have created a system.
Yes.
CEOs come and go.
Correct.
Every single time.
Correct.
So that's the point that I'm trying to make is put
he has a
structures
point.
in place.
No, I understand your point, but you're not disagreeing. Systems and structures are made manifest by people. Because if your so-called systems are not being adhered to by people, then it
No, but
doesn't
that's my
work.
point is people
We'll find the system.
will find this and fit into the system.
It's like you've built a house,
If they
Kazadi. The
don't
doors
fit into
open
the-
the same way,
Yes.
the taps open the same way,
If
they
the
give
people
the
don't
water, you
fit
open
into
the
the
tap.
system,
Then the system
they're
is
not
flawed.
part of the company. No, they're not part of the
but then
company
system
anymore.
No. That's what I'm saying. You're not.
I think we're arguing for the same thing.
We're not
point.
disagreeing. We're
Yeah.
in the same place. We're just looking at it from different perspectives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The systems are made by people because there's no successful company without people. And the only way to test if your systems do work is if the people in said systems do work. Because if the people you put in these systems aren't working, then the system is flawed. So it always comes back to people.
I'll give you a
So
different
the
example.
people need the system needs
the
people.
people?
No.
You're both correct.
No. I'll give you a very good example.
Okay.
Go to. Okay. I think it's Namibia that has introduced a 4-day working week.
Okay.
That is a system. If you bring South Africans to a system like that,
It's not going to work.
it's not going to work. If you bring Nigerians to a system like that,
It's not going to work.
it probably would work because of how hard they work. So, if a system is designed to have maximum output and you bring two different people, one person will fit seamlessly into the system, one person
Won't.
will not.
Yes.
And hence why I say the system could be good. So the fact that you put people into a system to test the system, and if it doesn't work, doesn't necessarily mean the system is flawed. It could mean those people are not right for their system. If you get the people that are right for that system, I think it's Dubai as well. There are countries where there's a 4-day working system. But if you get the wrong people for that system, it doesn't mean the system is wrong. It means those people are wrong for that environment. And that's why you get people chucked out of a company.
Yes, you're talking about
think-
you're talking about 6 and 9s. Okay, that's what we're dealing with here. Systems are created to make people work and fit into structures. Okay, but those structures would have failed if the people don't fit. So we're saying the same thing.
But once again, you have to keep. Go ahead.
I'm enjoying this.
If you're taking, like you said, if you take South Africans and put them into the Namibian system, okay, would they fail? Will they fail? Yes or no?
They would fail.
They'll fail. So what then has failed?
The people have failed. Here's the thing. The same way you took South Africans take another bunch of people, put them into the same system. If those fail, take another bunch of people. And this is why, hold on. This is why a lot of the time you will see companies have got a high employee turnover.
Correct.
Right up until they get the right kind of people to fit into that system.
So it is about people.
No, hold on. It's about the system.
Systems.
It's about the system.
It's about people.
The people,
You're looking for the right people to fit into your system. So it is about
So what's
people.
changing here is not the system.
No, what's
because
changing?
what you said is if you put people into a system and it doesn't work, it means the system is wrong, is what you said.
The system is flawed.
That's my point is the system doesn't necessarily need to be flawed.
No, it is because listen, the system does not operate within itself. The system operates outside of itself to be able to produce an outcome.
I agree with that.
Hold on. If I have a system to be able to grow a business, and what's in between here is people, okay? Whether the system is wrongly placed, aka Namibian system for South Africans, okay? The outcome would be that the business will fail. At that point, it doesn't matter whether the business had failed or the system had failed or the people. Everything's failed because the business isn't moving forward. Thus, the system is flawed. Hold on, let me land.
That's why I push back.
However, if I use the same system with Namibians who it's worked for, I will be successful in the business. So you can't just...
So who have you changed there?
Who have I changed?
Yes.
I've changed environments.
You've changed the people. From South Africans to Namibians.
Yes.
That's my point. Is change the people, not the system.
No, but if I could have done
let me finish my point.
I would have used the South African system to make it fit in South Africans.
No, hold on. Because I'll tell you this. It has been proven that a 4-day working system, the system, will make people more productive than the 5-day working system. Right? For wherever it has been implemented.
For Namibians.
I'll give you another example. Have you been to Australia?
No.
There's a system where they do not have well, in some shops they do, in some shops they don't, self-checkout stores.
Right.
If you put that system with the wrong people, it won't work.
You're going to lose money.
But with the right people, you don't have to change the system.
No, but you
don't have to change the system.
How about looking at a system that works regardless of who's in the system? McDonald's.
McDonald's doesn't work in Zambia.
No, my point is McDonald's. You know how McDonald's operates. Regardless of who's in that system, McDonald's operates.
No, but
hold on. I want to ask something. What is the McDonald's system?
Fast food.
No, it's not about fast food.
It is.
No. Let's talk about
McDonald's. Hold on.
McDonald's is real estate.
It's real estate.
It's real estate. Yes, but let's talk about the system of the way they handle.
Yes, it's real estate.
But that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the food.
Let's talk about the food itself.
Business,
the way Ray Kroc set up the system. Remember Ray Kroc?
It's food, speed, branding, all of that.
Right. Now, the system he set is even when somebody's preparing the fries and
absolutely
any person holding the tray has to move to the left.
Why wouldn't it work for Zambia?
Wrong people.
No, I didn't say it won't work.
But you won't. That's why we don't.
Wrong people.
Thank you. So my point is this.
The internal system of preparing the food, that's going to work anywhere regardless of who's in that system.
No, it doesn't. Because the people matter. The wrong people.
How has that system stood the test of time? It's still working in America.
For specific countries, specific people. It's the same thing he said. If I implement the Namibian system in South Africa, it's not going to work. So I have to implement South African system. So I can't force...
you're missing my point.
Listen,
I get your point, and I agree with your point because you're speaking more to what I've said. The system here matters.
Hold on. I can't force the Namibian system into South Africa and expect results. I can't do it. I have to adapt South African systems.
No, but once again, see, now when we look at it that way, we miss the point. Because here we're talking about business.
How are we missing the point?
I'll tell you why. Because here we're talking about businesses, right? In a business, the thing that comes and goes that you can change are the people. If I am going to employ
systems.
you... I'll tell you, Kazadi, hold on. If my system is that I sell cell phones, my store opens at 8, it closes at 5. And you constantly show up at 9 and you leave the job at 1. Do I change my system to fit the narrative? No, I change the person.
Whoa. Hold on, you asked me a question. Let me answer it.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's a man who went to India and he was selling, he would open his store at 9 and close at 5, as it would, every day for 5 years. Okay. He would get 10, 11 customers. Another man came through and started opening his store from 8 and closing at midnight. Okay, the first few months, first few weeks, nothing much was happening, until one day, out of nowhere, people started coming to buy shoes in the nighttime because there was emergencies and there was this. Okay, it is this. He changed and adapted to something that other people were not doing. So systems within themselves don't work unless there's a demand. So if your clients don't come to buy anything from your shop between 9 and 5, there's no point in opening from
Bam. So now it still goes back to my question,
About
right?
what?
Which is system. So if there's a demand,
systems change.
oh, hold on. Now it's still people, because now people.
So you're agreeing with me?
No, hold on. I'm not agreeing with you.
You are, because
No,
I've always
hold on,
said it's
hold
about
on, hold
people.
on.
He's been saying the people.
No, yeah, you've been saying the people. I said systems. So your system.
you're disagreeing
hold on,
with yourself.
No, hold on. Let me finish my point. If there's a higher demand for cell phones and you normally close at 5, and there's a higher demand, your system changes.
Yeah.
However, if the people tell you working that I cannot work until midnight, you don't change the system to say, fuck the demand. The people want to go home at 5. So I'm changing my system because it is flawed. No, you change the people to fit the system to say, I will open until midnight. So I want a person who's going to fit my new system. Do you get what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but you're
Yes.
you're using words that suit your point interchangeably.
No, I'm going with what you have just said.
No, but you're
hold on.
you're interchangeably using narrative to
No, hold on. So what I'm saying is there's a system. A system can change, right?
Yes.
Based off demand.
Yes.
So if
Based
there's
on
now
requirements, yeah?
here's a very good example. You get stores that open until midnight on Black Friday.
Yes.
Right? They normally close at 5.
Correct.
The system has changed to meet the demand. If the people say, no, my paycheck is only until 5, so I'm not working the extra hours,
You change the
what do
people.
you change?
The people. Yeah, but then that's what I've been saying all
I
along.
said we're arguing about
That's
the same
exactly
thing.
what I've. That's exactly what my point is.
Let's change the topic now before we end this episode just talking about systems and people. The women in Lusaka have a feeling that you have something against them. What's that about, man?
I don't have anything.
They say
against
the same thing about me too.
I don't have anything against them. I think they're some of the most beautiful women, aesthetically, that I've seen in the world. No, you got to celebrate. Yeah, aesthetically, they are some of the most beautiful women I've seen in the world. But I also feel like a lot of Lusaka women are some of the most entitled women that I've seen in the world.
Absolutely
more
true.
so than Americans. And I've been with a few American women. They, I'll give you a typical example. There is nothing more unattractive for a man, no matter how successful he is, than a woman who feels entitled to his wallet.
Absolutely true.
Because your private parts cannot be a currency exchange. If we have to sort of, and I hate to use this word, the only thing you bring to the table is your femininity and private parts, and that sort of gives you access to everything that I am, including my private part, then we have a problem. So, again, I just feel like, and I don't want to discriminate, I don't want to judge. People have to do what they've got to do, and sometimes it's not always going to align with my perspective of life or belief, but there's just a certain way to do stuff. I've seen slay queens do slay queen properly. I've seen baddies do baddies or being baddies properly, and so naturally, I just feel like you're either right or you're left, but you can't sort of danganana. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like they come with the veil of I'm a baddie, because you know the definition of a baddie, right? Self-sustained, you can look after yourself, but you get close enough and you realize this is not a baddie. She's just a professional beggar. So that's I speak as it is, and he probably doesn't. That's probably why they don't like it. But the truth of the matter is, I love them. I love.
So this girlfriend allowance thing really pisses you off, eh?
No, not necessarily. I feel like a girlfriend allowance is.
It's stupid.
Yeah, well, okay. His words. It's a thing that you have to bring to the table, not that has to be dictated or imposed on you. Does that make sense? As a man, I already know what what I need to do for my woman. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to educate me on how to look after my woman, but I shouldn't have to be mandated to do it. So if I feel like, you're with me because of the perks that come with being with me, you've gotten the wrong end of the stick, and that to me is where we sort of draw the line. And it's worse. I don't know how it is for you lot. I mean, you're an actor now. I see you on TV every other day. But like when I was coming up and when I was growing up, my grandmother, God bless her soul, she's passed away now. She said to me, son, where you're going, just make sure you get a wife, someone who knows you now, and they'll sort of grow with you. And I used to be like, no, grandmother, I'm too busy. I want to build this legacies and blah, 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 blah. And she used to tell me, when you build these legacies and stuff, you're going to find it hard to find someone who likes you for you, and not just because of them, but even because of you, because you won't be able to know the difference. Now, one thing that Lusaka girls do really well, which has broken me a couple times, and I'm a bad man, is, I don't know if you've seen this, so you tell me if you've experienced this, yeah? They will study you. I've had girls study me, like months and months and months, like nothing. They're studying. By the time they sort of bring themselves forward, they do everything I like. They seem to be, you know what I mean?
All the time.
Yeah, that happens to you, right?
Yeah, it happens to me.
And like, by the time you've realized, she's already gotten what she wanted from me.
Love bombing.
Bro, oh, that's what's called? Love bombing.
Yeah, I think so.
You should make it a movie or
that's
a
not what it
series.
is.
No, love bombing is making you what? No, it's a bit different.
It's different. Anyway, I don't know what it's called, but like, I've experienced this here more than I've experienced it anywhere else in the world, and I'm quite well traveled. So, yeah, school remains undefeated. I feel like even if you want to be a baddie, you want to be whatever it is, have something that's running for you. Because one thing is this, yeah, beauty is fleeting.
It is.
Like, you're beautiful today, you're not going to be beautiful tomorrow. And if all that you have to offer
Is
beauty and bunda, you've got like, your life is done.
Beauty, money, and youthfulness.
It's fleeting.
They're fleeting.
Yeah.
Don't put so much emphasis on those things, because they're here now.
And every other day, every other year, there's gonna be someone more pretty than you and has more energy. So my problem with a lot, then that's why I wouldn't even call it a problem. My quarrels with some of them always is, cool, so you're beautiful, and then what? My sisters are beautiful, but they're also educated.
Yeah, but you're gonna fuck your sisters.
No, but that's not the point. My point is that they're beautiful and educated. So my sisters don't walk up to a man and say, can you do me a favor? Because they don't need to.
But then again, yeah, I hear that. But then again, education is cool, it's cute. But then again, I feel like a man is gonna settle where he finds peace, because
I agree.
It's a lot of the educated ones that also are so entitled, that are so opinionated too.
I agree.
That say, no, you don't tell me shit.
You got to create a balance, innit?
No, absolutely.
No, but if I were to give you, and be as honest and as blunt as you can be, an educated, entitled, self-sustained woman, or a self-entitled, broke Lusaka woman, who are you picking?
The former.
Thank you. Because no matter how you look at it, the fact that she's educated means she doesn't need you. She may say it,
and that's what makes her sexy. You brought up an extremely good point.
There's something sexy about a woman that wants you but doesn't need you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Honestly.
independent, right?
Yeah. But it's so true.
The point that I'm trying to make is,
because if you need me, then so does everybody else.
It keeps you on your toes,
Yeah.
right? Every single day, you are gonna do what it takes,
Correct,
to have this girl fall in love with you,
correct,
over and over again.
More than the money, the looks, the fame, and all that stuff. Because
if you have money, you know that, look, for as long as I keep my bank account healthy, this broad is gonna stick around.
Yeah, bruv, listen, Lusaka girls get impressed with an economy flight from here to Ndola or SA.
With a what now?
Economy
flight.
So
From
I
here
have to
to
translate everything to also now.
Sorry.
Economy flight.
You book her flight, economy flight from here to Ndola or SA. You're the wababa. Like, oh my God, bruh. Like, come on.
I saw you say on one of your statuses that I will not date a girl who's never traveled outside the country.
No.
Or
That's not
something
what I said I
loosely.
prefer girls with mileage.
Who what?
I prefer girls with mileage.
Manage.
Mileage.
No,
that's not what you said.
Like passport
You
stamp.
say something about,
Mileage could mean other
Mileage,
things as well,
yeah.
right?
No, but like mileage in this right context, like passport stamps.
Oh, I thought you meant like she's
And
been
that I
around
agree with.
mileage.
That I agree though.
Why? Because listen,
They're exposed.
they're exposed. And here's the thing, yeah. When you're in Zambia, your world is sort of in a box, okay? And these are the things that started frustrating me the first time. Like, everybody talks about nonsense. Like, it's like, why is this news? Why is this news? Do you know what I mean?
I say
this one slept.
the same thing.
This one slept with a maid. It's this domestic, but everyone's talking about it. Just step out. You don't even have to go to Europe. Just step out. Go to SA. Go to Nigeria. Go to Kenya. You're gonna realize that the world is so much bigger than your little.
My man, I say the same damn thing. It kind
I
of.
remember you said do not get married until you've traveled the world. You posted that
Yes,
last
I
week.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It kind of feels like we speak about the same 3 fucking people every week.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know if it was
It's
you that I was
embarrassing.
talking about. That just like he said, you go to SA.
You don't know what's going on.
You do not know what is going on
There's
because
so much going on.
in your little neighborhood, there is so much going on that keeps you so
Yeah.
busy.
It's not on the internet.
So engaged. And it's not on the internet.
Yeah.
I know when
Someone
Kiddist went to party last week. And so does 80% of any Zambian with a Facebook.
right.
And that's fucking sad. Because I feel like we might sit and joke around and speak about this, but I feel like we are having an entire generation be robbed of an amazing future.
Agreed.
Because the tools that you are using, the cell phone and the internet, with just that, the amount of information that you have got access to is
So big, so wide, so
so
broad.
massive that it can make you so much money.
Yeah.
It can be, when you look at the average, let me say 20, 21, 22-year-old in Zambia, and you are to draw a parallel to somebody who's of the same age, same gender, in a totally different country,
not the same.
what they are focused on, what they care about is totally different.
Absolutely. It's like the guy, I forget his name, the kid who built Snapchat. He was 22. Yeah, he was 22.
Had he
While
been on
we're
busy
busy gossiping on Facebook.
Yeah, while we were busy, and that's my problem, and that's what I keep saying. That's why we had the whole systems and people, and it's on a broader perspective. The school systems and educational system and sort of cultural systems, sort of amplify the silly norms. Do you know what I mean? Like kids leave school. There's a post that I saw, some girl who was trending, some schoolgirl, and she's basically gonna become famous as the Zambian Facebook girl because she was doing some nastiness to herself and sort of leaked those videos.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
She was masturbating.
Yeah.
Nastiness to
Well, she was doing
herself.
some nastiness to herself and it sort of leaked. Now, my problem
There's a word for that, David.
It's in the dictionary.
And it's a clinical term
is
too.
a clinical term, yeah.
In the dictionary, it's there.
Anyway, the nastiness she was doing to herself. So now, my problem with that is this, yeah? While she's
This
doing
dude
it,
here is a freak.
yeah, my problem with that is this, yeah? While she's doing that, I think she was, 16, 17? There's a 16, 17-year-old thinking about how he's going to create the next AI tool that's going to revolutionize
in
the world.
China, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not even China.
No.
Just next door.
Yeah.
How, Zimbabwe alone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
it's going to revolutionize the world. So now, we, the consumers and the people, keep perpetuating the nonsense. And so they keep doing more of it. Like, there are people who are famous for being famous. Like, I look at some people and
Like
I'm like,
who?
why on earth are you famous? Like, what do you actually do? We've diluted...
Don't say that about Muzukanji.
Who's music? Oh, your Maps' ex-wife? Ain't she a businesswoman?
Yeah, she is.
She's a businesswoman, isn't it?
She is.
She's won a couple businesswomen awards. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, but after she got famous.
Anyway, I'm not here to talk about no. I'm just talking about. I'm talking generically. My thing is, we've diluted fame, we've diluted importance, and we've diluted relevance.
100%. And you know what the sad part is? Those same people were building their numbers that they're capitalizing and making money off of.
Yeah. To an
While
extent.
you are tweeting on your Soche bundle
They are making money.
and they are making money. I honestly feel like it is. Steve Jobs once said, death is the best invention of life. And it's so dark, but I feel like,
It makes way for new ideas.
right. And the more we speak about this, to say you need to be motivated to say, I should be more than I am now.
Agreed.
And
Do you know that's
that
what
doesn't-
annoys me? And that's what me and you have a lot of the conversations we have off camera. When I'm in London, yeah? And like London has so many Nigerians, because it's like Jamaicans, Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Ghanaians, then everybody else. Okay? Like to find a Zambian in the UK,
Who's popping?
forget popping, just a Zambian, you be jumping through hoops, it's long. So a lot of those people that I've mentioned, Nigerians, Zimbabwean, Ghanaians, are like go-getters. These guys are hustlers. Do you know what I mean? So when I was growing up, those were like my people. So when you say to them, I want to build and establish a company, they're like, yeah, I'm doing the same thing. And so you're kind of competing, but from a positive perspective, because you want to see each other win. Does that make sense?
Very true.
And like, I was a young man, like I was 18, 19, thinking I want to become a millionaire, billionaire, whatnot. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to make generational wealth. I want to increase my family's money, whatever it is. And that was what was motivating me. Now, when I came here, what started frustrating me about being home was the youths aren't as motivated.
And they love pulling each other down.
And they like pulling each other down. It's like, firstly, you have nothing, and you want to pull me down for having nothing. Are you mad? Like, are you losing your mind?
But that's
no, but hold on, let me land. Then there's I lost my train of thoughts. So there's that as a problem, and then this is ways. There's the problem that I have with the Zambian dream. Okay, I feel the Zambian dream is not ambitious enough, and that's what destroys a lot of us Zambian boys and girls. What is the Zambian dream? Go to school, get a job, get a car, get a house. That's the Zambian dream.
Get married.
Well, and get married.
Kids.
Yeah, basically that.
Die.
Okay, so go to school, get a job, preferably in a government institution.
Get married.
Yeah. Have a car and have a house, and you've succeeded. You made it in life, and now you can start cheating with these little girls that are coming up. You've made it. Okay. Do you realize that's entry level anywhere else in the world?
1 billion%.
Entry level. Mm-hmm. So now you deal with people like us who want more than that. A house, a car, and everything else that I've just mentioned are entry level. Like I'm supposed to have a car because
I'm supposed to have
I mean,
that.
like I'm supposed to have a house.
But that's not what my life is supposed to.
I need to be able to do more than just those things. So now you're dealing with people who, when you now tell them what your dream is like here, they think you're either pompous or you don't understand, you didn't grow up with this, you grew up with a silver spoon. So, and that's probably where I'll partially agree with you. These are the people that you need to put into your companies to work systems. And
not only that, but check this out.
Yeah.
But not only that, and this is why you get somebody be famous because they bought a Toyota Fortuner and they posted this on Facebook.
Wow.
Because the majority of the population doesn't have these things. Because
And so now they
nobody
look up to this person
right.
because they've bought a Toyota Fortuner or a Toyota Hilux.
Now it's the Ford Ranger.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But
anyway, you get the point that I'm trying to make.
The point that he's making, the point that we're making is if we don't have deliberate conversations and sort of create our tribes, we risk, because I'm a firm believer in bad company corrupts good morals, and they outnumber us, no matter how you look at it, okay? The dum-dums outnumber the ambitious and creatives and people who want to do a lot more.
So David, in your opinion,
Yes, sir.
how then do we change the mindset? Because you can only aspire to, sadly, what you can see.
Yes.
Or what is around you. Right? It is almost impossible to dream
Outside of what you see.
outside of what you see. Right?
That's why traveling is important.
Right.
And
And
see
this
why
is-
we have the problem with slave queens, because their aspiration is to have a miniskirt on the weekend, get into the capital, sleep with someone's father, he pays you 500 kwacha after that, and you're good. But then there's slave queens out there who are sleeping with someone's father who happens to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and he's opening another company for her. So the levels aren't the same. So it's like, get out of your bubble.
I fucking agree. And this is back to the 1 or 2 people who buy a fucking Fortuner. And this is why they go around saying...
Sounds personal.
I swear.
Nah, this is why they go around...
Is there something on your chest, Elson? Is there something you need to get off your chest, bruv?
Nah, bruh, you know my lifestyle. But the point that I'm trying to make is this is how you get those people say, I'm the tallest midget.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in my family we always say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Yeah.
So
So again, it still goes back to my question.
how do we do it?
How then do we
tribes.
change the mindset of the people for them to be hungry,
Create
to be
tribes?
motivated?
Here's what I've stopped. I've stopped being deputy Jesus. And I don't know if you went through the phase. When I first came back home, I was like, I want to change the industry. I want to change people's mindsets and I was so angry all the time. I was bitter, I was screaming, and it was just changing me. I went through a full 360 where I just had to be at peace with myself and realize that I'm going to do something and someone else is going to build on what I've done. And so to answer your question, how do you change a mindset? Show them. And that's what I've started doing. I don't need 10 people to come with me. I just need one person to be able to show 10 million people that it is possible. And if they choose to mock it, embrace it, laugh at it, applaud for it, so be it. Someone would have seen it, and that person would have seen it, would represent the little kid in me who was waiting to see what my uncle's doing for me to know it's possible, waiting to see what my dad is doing to know it's possible. So I'm no longer trying to change the nation or the industry. I'm just trying to change the ones who are willing to be changed. That's it.
One man can change the world.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I've said this several times that I absolutely wish that, and I really hope that the people that watch this are outside
The box thinkers.
right and the norm of the people that typically watch this, because I would want because I feel like if you're already on this podcast, you're smart.
Yeah.
Right? I want this to get to those people that will be in the trenches and fighting about, oh, how dare you talk Muzukanji, and they would literally go to battle to spend time on people they've never met.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, and I said this on my Facebook, right? I see people like you. I see people like Simon, the lawyer guy. Who I am on the podcast and who I am on social media
Not the same people.
are totally different to who I actually am.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm a totally different father. I'm a totally different
Husband, boyfriend.
right. Did you say husband?
And boyfriend.
Husband, boyfriend, I don't know.
No, I'm not married.
You're dating though, innit? So husband? Boyfriend?
Boyfriend, absolutely.
Okay, there we go. Because it's all marketing, and that's what people don't understand.
It is, right? And so if people then think, oh, okay, cool. So we are spending time with him on Facebook
So
because
we know him.
so we know him, and
Nonsense, the
right?
nonsense.
And so because I am at this level where I am going to be eating what's a shitty ass meal, like a horrible meal.
Don't disrespect any meal, bro.
You say what?
Don't disrespect any meal.
No, but answer his question. Then.
But answer my question.
I'm
Give
not
me
going to answer that question.
Why?
I'm not going to
Drew,
disrespect any meal.
tell me what you would consider.
I think Import is the most
No, come on,
disrespectful
man.
meal.
I love those.
I feel like the person who created Import was trying to commit suicide and then found out it didn't work, so they made it a meal.
Yeah,
because
and so now they
I
think
don't
that because
understand.
Kazadi is spending time on social media the same way I am, they're on the same level as I.
Yeah.
They don't realize when Kazadi puts his phone down, the work he's putting in.
Correct.
When this dude here
Correct.
Turns the microphone off,
Yeah.
the work that he's putting in.
Yes.
I honestly wish more people would be hungrier.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that when you post something sensible, you don't get that much interaction?
I started a new business, right? Where I do interior design.
Right.
The amount of engagement that I get there.
Low.
But you know what's crazy is, I don't know if I can say this.
You can say it. You're else.
I got a contract to do the interior design I'll say the company, but it's a massive South African company here.
Okay.
And they do insurance.
Okay.
And guess where they saw this? On Facebook. They never commented. They never say shit. They said, dude, I saw this on Facebook. Can you do that? I'm like, yeah. They're like, are you sure you can do this? Yes. Where have you done this?
Boom, boom, boom,
I'll
boom.
buy you a ticket because I haven't done it in Zambia yet. I'll fly you to where I've done this.
Right.
They went there, they saw it, they came back, I got the contract.
Wow.
The post that I made had less than 20 engagements.
Yes.
If I post about bullshit,
Yo.
got 1,000 real quick.
It'll fucking trend.
I'm God, and you know, and not to sort of go around in circles. So there was a bunch of people who came in to apply for a job at the media house, and it was so ironic. One of them happened to be someone who was basically calling me a loser, riding off daddies, la 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 la. And you know, there's those ones who like they say something so dumb, and you're like, okay, cool, we'll meet in the boardroom at some point. And I say this as a joke, not expecting anyone to actually show up. So this brother comes and now he's got to like face me, and I'm like, I know you from somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like one of those things, because I had looked him up and I know you. He's like, no, it's not me, big man. I'm like, so what? Then we talk about the job that he's come to apply for and what he's good for, la la la. And I'm like, what's your social media presence in life? I go on social media, I'm like, wait a minute, you're that guy. Didn't you say this and this and this and that? And that's how I never got the job. So
No, but that's fucked up though.
no, but bruv, how on earth?
Because that has got nothing to do with what he's able to
No,
do
but
in the
it does
company or
because
not.
of the job that he was applying for.
Which was what?
But I can't say it now because then the guy would be.
No, because then now I feel like you're not gonna hire somebody based off your personal.
I like the
No.
point. I like the story that you just shared about, you post something business related and you get that call, fine, and you got the business deal, right?
I did,
yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I don't know if you've been seeing my social media posting about voiceover work and whatever. It's amazing the calls I'm getting, bro.
For real?
I may get 10, 20 likes.
But you're-
dude, I'm getting banks calling
'Cause
me,
the right
insurance
people-
companies
yeah, the
calling
right
me
people are
now.
seeing it.
Yeah, and I'm
Right.
getting good jobs,
And
voiceover.
people make the mistake of assuming online popularity equates to money.
No,
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Because again, and it's one of the reasons, and one of the reasons for it is because we're not monetized. If we were at least monetized, and you'd be like, okay, cool, you're millions and millions of followers. Like we got 1 million views in 3 days, and we didn't make a penny from it. That's just flex. But like I said in the beginning, what's the point of flexing if you're not making money, especially on Facebook?
I totally agree. And again, speaking to the same point, which is, I mean, Carling and I are fortunate enough to have these microphones, right? And with it comes different offers. Early on, I have to sift through my words extremely carefully here. Earlier on, I would take whatever comes my way.
Right.
Because this was new to me.
Right.
It was new to you as well.
Yeah.
Nobody really trains you. So you would get airlines come through and say, we're not going to give you money, but we're going to give you free flights. You get hotels say, we're not going to give you money, we're going to give you free accommodation.
Yes.
A lot of barter deals going
A lot
on.
of barter, you would get people saying, okay, so I'm not going to pay you X amount, I'll pay you this, and then I'll give you this instead. And you're thinking, well, a win is a win, right? And then I sat and I actually really thought, at the point that an individual or a company is approaching you, they've seen value.
Of course.
Otherwise, they wouldn't.
Of course.
That's number one. Number two is one of the things that my father always said is when it comes to a negotiation, never make the first offer.
Of course.
So when they make an offer,
Counter.
they are expecting a counter.
Of course.
Which is what, let me not say which is what I would really do.
Yes.
At the fear or the risk of losing this person,
Yes.
I'll say, okay, yeah, fine, I'll take what you guys are offering me.
And that's the mindset of a lot of youths.
Right, because you're thinking with your stomach.
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where I'm like, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. If you noticed much earlier on, I won't speak about my other businesses, I'll speak about the podcast. I would be at different events.
Yes.
A new cornflakes has been launched and they say, oh, Elson, come through.
And you'd be sure.
I am there.
I used to wonder, I was like, this brother, what the hell, man? You don't
Right.
understand the value of your brand. You can't be everywhere,
No,
man.
it gets
Well
interesting.
done.
Where I then began to see the value of
Your presence.
right. So I launched Cyrex and I launched a condom company.
You did?
I did.
It's very appropriate that he gets into that
I'm
business.
like, what?
Yeah.
What's the company?
Yeah.
What's the condom company called?
The condom company?
Yeah.
It's called Carex.
I think
Carrots.
Yeah.
Carrots.
So yeah.
I think we finally start using condoms. Yeah.
So no, it gets interesting. So the
Very
main thing
clever.
that I do is software development, right?
Yeah.
You do the work, the money comes in, the money is good. Then the other thing that keeps you on your feet, like on a monthly basis, is the other one that I did.
Yeah.
With
Yes,
right.
no.
And so I then did this too. So I got invited to speak at some event.
Right.
And I said, they offered me money. I said, sure, I'll do it on condition
Yeah.
that I have a pull-up banner for my company.
Right.
And I come wearing,
Your brand's Vigalio.
guess what they said?
No,
Guess what I said?
I'm not going to do it.
F off.
So I then realized these guys are okay giving you 20,000 or whatever it is to push their brand, their brand. The minute you say,
They may also come and advertise on my
the minute that you say, when these microphones are off and these microphones are done, and for some reason I can't talk anymore,
Yes.
I need to have created something
some sort of traction.
that is going to be bringing in
gonna
money.
happen, yeah.
So I would want a point, dude. It got to a point where people thought I owned Unka
Wow.
because I speak about it so much.
Passionately.
Do you guys get paid for Unka?
Yeah.
No, we get paid, but then that's not the point. The point is when someone listens to me,
You speak about it passionately, so they believe you own it.
They believe me.
But that's great marketing.
So now, what happens if you push your own thing
the same manner.
The way
as
you're pushing another
aggressive?
brand.
Yeah.
Somebody, a huge person from MTN, wanted to order Unka.
Yeah.
And they couldn't. And they waited for 20 minutes.
They called you.
Guess who they called?
You, of course.
They called me.
Elson, what's going on?
Dude, what the fuck?
Can I jump on that, yeah? And here's the thing that I tell all my artists, more so now than I did before. And it's all connected to what we're talking about, the streams, yeah? So the first tier is if there was a system, okay, which I'm not going to build because I'm sort of done trying to save the world, that would have every Zambian pay $1 for your streams. A lot of Zambian artists would be rich because you'd be dealing in a currency that you control with a population that you control. Spotify, Apple Music, all of these, they don't know who we are. Not even Boomplay. Because Boomplay was created with Nigeria as a blueprint. We just found a way to fit into the mold. So the things that make sense to Zambian or Zambia don't really make sense to a lot of these conglomerates. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if I were the biggest celebrity in Zambia, okay, I would not waste an opportunity like what he's done. I would have, well, not what you've done, like what they mostly do. Because a lot of the Zambian celebrities, superstars, or whatever it is, still rely on things that are external to them. So they don't understand the internalization. So for example, and I'll speak from both film and music, yeah? In film, or TV, as we would call it, a lot of the things that are feeding Zambian filmmakers or TV creators is because they put their content on DSTV's Zambezi Magic MultiChoice. If those guys pull the plug, you will have so much unemployment in the country, it's not even funny.
So true.
Like, so bad. Because there is no other outlet. There is no other distributor, okay? One of the reasons trade kings are kings of trades are because they control production and distribution. You catching what I'm saying? So there is no one telling them what they cannot do. Okay? And all they have to rely on is marketing. So they focus the entire thing in ensuring that you never forget who they are. So you see them plastered all over the place as much as they can. Now, when you understand that from a business perspective, when you walk in with a proposal at Trade Kings, you already know you're talking to them about things they like. They like to be seen. Okay? Because that's all that there is to do. And of course, quality control and everything else. So now, more to my point. If I were like super famous in Zambia and everyone was like worshipping my feet like they do some of these people, I would create a product.
There you go. Look at Podcast and
That you
Chill.
sell to your community.
Yes.
Look at Podcast and Chill. Do you know that they've got their own gin?
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, and the mix
Yes,
as well.
and,
Called,
and that's why it is because
what's it called?
Because
Chiller's Punch or something.
And
Yeah.
the formula is very simple. When you're not paying for the product, then you are
the product. Yeah.
So if I'm giving you content for free that you're streaming on Facebook and so
You
on and so
are the
forth,
product.
you are my product. So
'Cause
I
you're
need
being
to make
advertised
sure.
to, yeah.
Yes, I need to make sure that I'm making money from you. So he just he built a condom brand. Okay, in your shoes, I'll be the number one sponsor of this podcast. You guys work out what it is. At the beginning of every podcast, condoms have been advertised. On top of
And emphasize how you use them, actually.
No, listen.
no, hold
There's
on,
a
hold on.
whole
Let me-
rollout.
I know you're smart, so you do all of that stuff. But my point is to people who aren't doing that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? There are people who they blink and they've got 1 million, 10 million, whatever it is. But then when you look at their entire catalogue, outside of money that they're being paid to do certain things, they have nothing that they're pushing.
100%.
Nothing.
Bruh, let me tell you. And furthermore, shit.
He's passionate.
He's getting
Not
erection from
only
this.
that, because I've lost a lot of relationships.
Right.
Have you ever noticed when people who are real capitalists, people that would want to exploit and take advantage of any opportunity to say, okay, so Kazadi is famous, I'm going to use his name, his brand, his platform
To leverage.
to push this.
Yes.
If I try to do that and
start
Kazadi
hating.
pushes back,
Yeah.
the amount of the manipulation and the way they hate you and the way
It's nonsense.
it's nonsense. And this happened to me with one particular person
Yes.
who, you know who the fuck it is.
I do.
Yes, you do.
And I said I do.
And he lives in Kabwe.
Who's that?
Now you know who it is.
Wait, say it, and then you can bleep it out.
No,
who's this?
and I'll tell you.
Okay.
And it got to a point where there's plenty of money, but there's a condition. There's a string attached. Right.
I must leverage.
You do. Mizukanji fell for that.
Yeah.
I did for the first couple of weeks until I saw through that. One of the person who shit, man, I can't say names. However, but if you look at the relationships that these guys had, they last for a while as that person gets what they want and then they move on.
Right.
And it got to a point where I then figured, let me create my own stuff.
Right.
If I'm gonna get something from you, it has to benefit
Of course.
my own
Of
brand
course. It has
or
to come
whatever.
back.
Right. And
It has
that's
to come back.
and I feel
And I've been doing that for the past 4 years. Sorry to interject, yeah? So let me give you an example, yeah? And I'll ask this and answer it plainly. Can you name me 4 production companies in Zambia that make films? Name me 4.
Coin.
No, production companies.
What doesn't Coin have a
That's
company?
my point. You don't know the name. But you don't know the name. It's not top of mind.
Yeah, well, because it's a friend.
That's not the point. What is my production company?
Yeah,
No, but you know how I know your production company? It's because your name is in it. So all I need to know is you know your
But
name.
are you catching where I'm going with it?
No, I do.
Yeah? There are so many production companies that exist in Zambia, okay, that make films. Some even better than us, okay? I said that with a pinch of salt, but, there's so many. But it's very rare that you will know the name of a production company. Why? Because production companies aren't supposed to be loud by definition. They're supposed to be the most quiet people to do their thing and nobody really knows who did it. They get their money,
Right.
okay? Purposely, intentionally, when we came in, we wanted to make as much noise with Kazadi films as possible because we wanted the same way a Marvel movie to a Pixar movie is how you will know Kazadi films. Does that make sense? So there are now products, when we put them out, even if they've got nothing to do with us, people will be like, oh wait, that could be Kazadi films. Why? Brand recognition and brand leveraging.
True, but then again, let me just push back. I know there's a point that you're driving at. Just based off that, I'm sort of on the fence about that. Because look at Weinstein Studios.
The Weinstein Company.
The company, right? And how it is being looked at now
After him.
because of his
After him, right?
Yes.
So regardless of all the movies they may have in their catalog,
And how much money they've made.
how much money they've made, who else is in the company who has never done what Harvey
did, yes.
is? They are all
Of course,
now tainted.
there's always a backlash to it.
Right.
But the point that I was driving at was you must leverage your brand and be so loud with it to be able to benefit from it long term.
Yep.
Why? Because you see, we don't need to market something as much as the next production company needs to. Okay? And I love Cosmas. He's a good friend of mine. But Cosmas has to market this Muzukanji movie, even if it's riding off an already existing name. Okay? Like he has to market the hell out of it because nobody knows him in that sphere. If we took that same film and just said a Kazadi Films production, that's it. It would have gone viral, it would have sold itself. Do you know what I mean? So build such a reputable name, build such a massive company, or build such a massive brand, as an individual, taking advantage of the market that you're in to be able to make the market the people who pay you. So because Zambian or the Zambian market doesn't monetize Facebook, Instagram, and all of these things, okay, cool. What are we gonna do? Let's build the audience, let's build the marketplace so that when we do need to be able to start monetizing it, we don't monetize from Meta or all these things, we'll monetize from the people because we're selling them a product.
So we have to go because these guys are telling us.
time, yeah.
Drew, what did you say?
How long have we been talking?
Each like 12, 30 plus.
Which battery has gone out?
No, it's all good. Just the last question. Kazadi.
Okay, so essentially, we might need another one because there's a lot that we left on the table. I
Unpacking,
wanted to speak to you about the claims that you made that you got offered £5 million
Yes.
for Kazadi
I
Films.
can clear that up.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can clear that up easy.
Go ahead.
I did get
Do we still have one camera that can run with this?
We can go on a break for 5 minutes and we come back.
I need to
All the batteries are down.
We only have this one can go up to maybe 2 minutes.
2 minutes, quickly.
Go.
I'm chewing.
2 minutes.
So yeah, I did get offered £5 million pounds.
And you turned it down. Why?
My dad always said, anyone who offers you success too quickly, as quickly as you accept it, you're going to fall just as fast. So I've always been aware of anyone who offers me something unbelievable. If it's unbelievable, then it probably is unbelievable.
So couldn't you have taken that money and opened another?
No, there was no money.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
There was no money. So what they wanted was to sort of buy equity. And obviously they offered it wasn't 5 million in one go. So they sort of broke it down. You're going to get X amount in these many years and so on and so forth. And the idea was that once they buy enough equity, again, I was a junior businessman, once they own enough equity, they will slowly turn Kazadi Films into a pornography company, but then the liabilities of whatever happens will fall on me. Okay? So I probably wasn't going to see that money in whatever the duration was, but then there was a whole scam.
Yes, because we didn't have that context when you made the post.
No, but there was context at the bottom. People just don't read.
Okay, cool. Anyway, listen, we need to go because clearly we have got no more time. We've been running for over 2 hours.
That's crazy.
Listen, we have got an amazing, huge sponsor that is coming in. Please keep hitting the subscribe button.
Yeah, hold on. I've got to plug some of the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So on the I'm wearing my t-shirt. On the 28th of, look at me wearing another man's top face. That only happens once in life. So on the 28th of September, we're launching Mordecai's debut album. Yeah, which is also going to be done with a concert. So a lot more will be rolling out and details will come through. And also in that same period, in the next few weeks, we're going to launch our TV show called The Icon, which is a talent search. We're looking for the next big Zambian icon, and they get to stand a chance to be signed to our label, 100,000 kwachas on the line, and we've partnered with Stanbic. So the winner also gets to perform on the Stanbic Music Festival. So it's a big thing. So look out for it.
All right, David.
Till the next episode, have a lovely day.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, you can say that again.
Oh, it's over here now?
Close it.
Dude,
Leave it. Just cut.
Doesn't matter. This is like a TV production.
Tan 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 tan